the topic of tonight is which am best V8, and that's basically from brand, from country, from car, whatever you want. It's something that me and my friends talk about a lot, and I'll have them introduce themselves in a minute. We get into heated debates about nonsense arguments, and this is the topic I picked for tonight. Basically, we want to try to do this stream on a sort of regular basis if we can, like maybe once every week or 2 weeks, and talk about various, shall we say, controversial topics for car enthusiasts. Some of the other ideas we have are to talk about if the BRZ is, shall we say, good or underpowered, etc. It's a piece of crap, yes. There's also the NSX. Is it wonderful? Is it terrible? And we're talking about the new one, of course, not the original, which is clearly a piece of automotive perfection. Hey, Rev Match is here. Nobody makes a better V8 than America, lol, than Dodge. So we have one vote in the comments already. We will get right into that. So y'all are definitely welcome to join in the chat. And in the meantime, it's kind of interesting that it says only 2 watching when I know for a fact there's at least 5. So apparently that's not accurate.
A few of us probably have it pulled up, which is contributing to that.
Yeah, but there's also 3 people actively in the chat. So way to go, YouTube.
You also haven't sent the link in our chat. So.
Oh yeah, give me 1 second. But as soon as I send that, then we will get down to business and introduce everybody. And line it up. There is the actual link to the live stream.
What is making up?
I should probably click on that.
So I'm guessing everybody knows who I am if you're here, but I am Aaron. I am the, shall we say, presenter for 802 Garage, and these are my car friends, and I'll let them introduce themselves. So I guess we can just go like left to right. Eric from Rev Match, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Eric.
You're a little bit quiet, Eric. Turn up the volume.
Quiet. How's that? Is that better?
That's better. Nice hat.
Yeah, you like this? I was filming today with this. So my channel is Rev Match TV, and I do builds, do car reviews, I do how-to videos, all that kind of cool stuff. And I just posted a drift video this morning.
You did. And also tell us what car you have and or cars if you want to list the top few.
So my drift video, I've got a 240 SX with an SR20 swap, and I've got an Audi S3, which is a daily, and I've got a BMW 1M, which is my, I don't know, exotic car, whatever you want to call it.
And where you from?
Over there. Broken E30. So right now I'm streaming from Toronto, but I'm in Los Angeles normally.
Gotcha. And so, Taco, name where you're from and cars.
So my name's Zachary. I'm from Maryland, and I have a very wide collection of cars. So I have 2 of the same vehicles. I have 2 Mini Cooper S's. One's 2005, one's 2006. I have a 99 Jaguar XJR
V8.
and V8, supercharged V8. And the most recent vehicle that has been added to the stable is a 2004 545i E60 BMW, 6-speed manual, sport pack, everything.
And that one's a what? A Mavie.
Another V8. Rear-wheel drive distance cruiser.
Cool.
So it's I have quite a long collection of.
And didn't we just figure out that's actually a pretty rare car with the manual?
Well, it's not an M5, but even then, it's still rare to get an E60 with a manual transmission.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on. Name where you're from and cars. I'm a V8.
Well, what about Rombo?
Whichever wants to go first.
I don't care. I'm David. I'm from South Carolina. I don't have a YouTube channel, but guys like Aaron keep making me tempted to try and start one. I actually don't have any cars. No, just kidding. I have a 2012 Subaru WRX, and I also have a 93 Miata. So we've got the slow and the slightly less slow. And as for what I like to do with them, I'm currently in Nashville right now on an internship, so I love to go driving in the mountains and get road raged at, as well as doing a lot of autocrosses and hopefully soon track day stuff.
Nice. And last but not least.
And I guess it's my turn. So I'm Mike. I have a 2014 Dodge Charger RT that's all-wheel drive because I live in Michigan and snow sucks. I also have a 2014 Ford Mustang GT with a track package because summer's fun.
Track pack.
And
Track pack.
I will get it out here eventually. I also have a 1986 Alfa Romeo Spider.
There you go. That's the one that I actually like. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, I think I have the least cars here. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of cars, but we don't really need. Everybody knows my cars, and none of them work.
No. Yeah, the classification for owning the car is does the car run?
Does the car run?
Yeah.
Well,
can you actively? Well, yeah, that's fair, but it does
your
run and
V8
drive.
Your V8 burned out your clutch.
Yeah,
that's
it does.
Too much power.
It does run and drive. It just desperately needs a clutch.
So real quick,
drivers suck.
So real quick, I do want to say to the people here in the chat, hey Lynn, hey Zeb, hey I'm Tate, and hello Austin. Thank Yachty. Don't be a jerk. I don't know who you are, but what's up? Anyway. Other than that, we can start talking about which is the best V8. And so the setup for this.
That without Luke here.
I mean,
without his colorful opinions.
Is he watching?
Oh, God, are we going to
Did we
start?
link him? Luke, come watch. Luke, come watch. We love you. Luke, I'm going to talk to him on Facebook. Luke. He's the guy who usually, oh, whoops, wrong channel. Shit, Luke. There we go. Watch. So he's the guy who usually argues that V8s are, well, you know, we all exaggerate things, but V8s are terrible and they just make cars heavy and they suck. And
although, what's his current god car?
His current god car is like a Mustang GT.
No, it's either a what is it? Is he into the 350 right now? The 350.
Oh yeah. Oh, he loves the 350.
So he's in the 350R or a GT4 Cayman. Those are his two
or a Z4.
No, don't forget he has that Lotus obsession happening right now.
Oh,
yes, he does have the Lotus obsession.
So Aaron,
so the setup
of the best V8 though, we need to like put some parameters on it.
That's up to you, Eric. Is it about power and efficiency? Is it about power and sound? Is it about just the exhaust note if you straight pipe it with 4-inch exhaust?
Or how it sounds when it has a big cam in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one of the current debates that we had currently was horsepower per liter. Determining, we also went over MPG, but horsepower per liter, you know, like the BMW E92 M3, what's it, like 140 horsepower per liter or something, or 120 horsepower per liter?
Something like that. You're making 412 horsepower.
it's
So like
it's around 100.
Yeah, 100. And then what's the Mustang, like the new 5.0? Like it's about the same. No, it's probably like 80.
The new one is
It's 88 around
50 horsepower, and it's 5.7 liter. Is that right?
No, it's the 5.0, new 5.0.
Yeah, the Mustang.
So it's approaching 100.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was one of the debates was the thing is that the new 5.0 has been in development for how long, and it's only been out for 5 years, whereas the E92 M3 motor has been out for, I think the E92 M3 was introduced in like 06 or 07.
Right, but there's a torque difference too, obviously, and
yes, yeah,
rep difference and a difference in approach.
Yeah, and that's
Matt, you're still pretty quiet.
Am I? What if
I
super quiet? Is it better?
It's better.
Yeah, that's
but
better.
It's probably the best I'm going to be able to do if I do that. So, but yeah, so saying that, it's a difference in approach. Obviously, the Europeans like to have high revving motors. The E92 motor, and I forget what the model designation is, 4 liters revs out to 80, 200 RPM. Makes 412 horsepower, but the torque is...
It only makes like 280 foot-pounds of torque or something.
Ooh.
It's a little more than that, but it's well below 400,
Yeah.
Whereas, the new 5-liter Mustang, I don't know why I thought it was 5.7. It's a 5-liter Mustang.
That's the Dodge thing. 5.7 or Chevy.
Yeah, the new one makes 460 horsepower, and it's a lot of. It's over 400 pounds-feet of torque. I don't know what the number is exactly, but it's right up there.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, and so what you guys are talking about right now is kind of what set up this debate for me. Anyways, is it's like who makes the best V8 is the original, which could be brand, and it could also be country, because a lot of it, what we were talking about, is German versus American. But I also wanted to mention that Japan does make some pretty impressive V8s right now, especially when you do factor in efficiency. And granted, they've made some good V8s over time in general. It's mostly just Nissan and Toyota. That's basically the big two.
Yeah.
And then there's also the V8s from Hyundai and Kia over the past, decade or so, whatever. I don't remember when they first started selling it in the US especially, but they also have their own 5.0 V8. So just add those to the mix. It's a little bit complicated. Now, every country has a 5.0 V8. Germany has a 5.0 V8. Japan does. Korea does. USA does.
So we have to nose goes for talking. It's gonna be fun.
Go T-Rex, go.
Okay. If we're talking about horsepower per liter and what's the best V8, I would argue the S2000 is the best V8 because I don't think anything still touches the horsepower per liter that the S2000 makes.
It's not a V8. Also, real quick, Bladed Angel is in the comments, and I just want to say thank you, Bladed Angel, for the shout out recently. Got me some subs. Hope some of y'all are out here, and everybody go check out his channel. It's pretty awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Bladed Angel.
Well, so while we're messing around with the S2000 thing, another thing we subjected ourselves to, which I don't necessarily agree with, was miles per gallon of the motor. So typically, what we found is that the German V8s, the higher strung, as one of our friends would say, the motors that you had to rev to 8,000 RPM to get your 300 foot-pounds of torque out of them and 400 horsepower out of them, typically get much worse miles per gallon than, say, like a new Gen 5.0. But I think that's large in part due to gear ratios more than it is the engine design.
It's more than just gear ratios, though. You also have to take the efficiency plots of the motor. In higher RPMs, it loses it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting topic because it goes both ways. Because like on one end of the spectrum, like you have the new Gen Corvette that is 7-gear gearbox and disables half the cylinders when you're going down the highway and gets like 24 mpg. Then the other end of the spectrum, like an S2000 gets like 20 estimated 22 or something on the highway.
Let's see.
Now, guys, I do want to mention, Linchester in the comments brought up an interesting thing. The Ferrari 458 has the highest horsepower per liter V8, which is 4.5 liter V8, 570 horsepower in the 2015 458 Italia. So that's 570 out of a 4.5 liter.
That's pretty insane.
Okay, and what's that coming out to?
And we're talking about normally aspirated here too, just for the record.
Right.
Yeah. Because anybody can slam turbos on an engine and make 600 wheel horsepower.
So we're not including the Demon.
I think we can, but I think that we just have to quantify it as well. And I think too, because if you bring in like the Cayenne GTS, like they had 570 foot-pounds of torque or whatever from like a twin turbo 4.8 liter. I'm trying to find what the stats were on the naturally aspirated V8 there. It was a 340 horsepower 4.5 liter was the naturally aspirated Cayenne, and buckets of torque. I don't even remember exactly what it is, but so Porsche's made some good V8s too, which is more German cred there.
Here's the catch. The Demon does beat that 458 in horsepower per liter.
But it also has a gigantic TVS, 2.6 liter blower slapped on the top of it.
I'm not even denying that at all, but what I'm saying is that engine is designed to take the boost.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. And there's special, boosted engine has different design constraints wrapped around it than a naturally aspirated one. Right. And I wholeheartedly agree, but I feel like the comparison for keepsake of simplicity should just be like NA Motors for now.
Yeah, so let's stick to NA Motors for now and say who has the best one. And so I think a lot of people might argue that it's the 458 engine, but I don't think anybody's going to tell you that the 458 engine is more, shall we say, reliable than an LS motor. I don't exactly know how reliable they are, but I don't think people would have more faith in one to go 30 miles.
Yeah, I can't imagine. There's a reason that everybody does an LS swap and not everybody. What is it?
Well, they're cheap as hell.
Yeah, that's the point, because there's so many of them. They have to be good.
That's true.
Cheap and reliable. This is probably one of the highest volume V8s ever made.
Yeah, I can literally go to any junkyard in the United States right now and get parts for an LS motor. It's a fact.
If you yank one out of a Chevy Express van, granted that's still an upgrade over a lot of things you're going to swap it into, but is that really kind of something to factor in this discussion? That's going to be what, like a 370 horsepower V8?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
not even.
all you gotta do is change the heads and the compression.
Right,
That's
we're
not
not talking about that though.
Yeah, we're talking stock NA mode. I mean, like, you know, if you just look at the bare statistics, like, you know, horsepower per liter only means so much. Like a torque curve, a torque curve is really important. The way the horsepower comes on through the RPM band is also crucially important, which I feel like the American V8s excel in that category because they create a very sharp like incline of torque and horsepower, and they seem to hold it for much longer than the European descendants.
Now, this is interesting, too. Aston Martin has their V8 Vantage, and they had the 4.3 liter or 4.7 liter V8, which were actually assembled at the Aston Martin plant in Germany, apparently. And I'm trying to look at the exact horsepower numbers here, but it's somewhere in the realm of 430, I want to say. 420 to 430 horsepower for the 2016 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. So there's another one to throw into
How
the
big
mix
is the
for you.
motor?
5.3 for the new one. No, that's the older ones. I think it's 4.7.
Interesting.
No, 4.7. I know that Aston did like a 4.4 or 4.3.
They have a 4.3 and a 4.7. I don't know which one's the current model.
They do sound good though. I got to admit.
They do. They sound killer.
You know,
Sounds excellent.
I just drove the new Lexus GSF, the 467 horsepower, 5 liter. So it's making about the same power as the Mustang, but as you might imagine, it's really refined and quiet and relaxed, and it makes sort of like this rumbling sound, but the exhaust is super quiet. Very typical, you know, Japanese. I'm sure it's going to last for 300,000 miles.
Yeah, you look at the what is it, the ISFs, the ones you can get now for like 20-25 grand. I mean, those things still make a lot of horsepower per liter. Relatively easy to maintain in terms of, like, you know, compared to an M5 or a C63 AMG, you know, they're easier on the wallet, and it's the same thing, you know, it's refined, but it makes a lot of horsepower.
So this is really impressive, though. The brand new, and granted, this is the top of the line Toyota, like the highest thing Toyota makes right now. This is the Lexus Rcf 2017, 5 liter V8. 467 horsepower, 389 pound-feet of torque, so they didn't really kill the torque number on that. And MPG, which I'm sure there's some magic behind the scenes here, 16 city, 25 highway. 25 highway MPG out of a 467 horsepower 5 liter. That's pretty impressive. Chevy does similar things.
I just drove that motor in the GSF, which is probably about the same weight.
Now, how did it feel? Well, yeah, this car is just under 4,000 pounds, which, you know, is bad. But how did the engine feel, though? Did it have power through the range? Did it rev?
Yeah, I mean, the one I drove, so I was driving it in the GSF, which is a heavier car. It's probably 4,200 pounds or something like that. It's their big sedan. It had a ton of torque. It drove really smoothly. I was driving it at a lot of altitude. I was probably at 6,000 feet, so it didn't feel super powerful, but willing to rev, plenty of torque, plenty of power. I mean, it was just smooth all across the board. I mean, it's a very Japanese kind of thing, the way they do it. It's no drama. The car just accelerates very quickly, and you're at a lot of speed really quickly, and you don't realize it. You know, that's sort of very, very Japanese. They almost don't want you to hear the motor. They've muted it. There's a little sound pipe into the interior. You can turn it on, and it makes a little bit more noise, but it's still like super Japanese, super muted. It's like you will not have loud cars. They're not refined.
Yeah, but on the other end of the spectrum, like, stuff like that is interesting because I'm actually a Jaguar Range Rover technician at a dealership, and you I don't know if you've driven the new F-types and stuff. Like, they are loud and brash. that is all they are meant for, is to be loud and obnoxious.
Should I get some of the beard combing in on this live stream?
Yeah, of course.
Just do it.
But on the other end of the spectrum, like, you hop in one of our, you know, the supercharged 5 liter XJs, you know, the big comfy sedans. They're really, really quiet on the inside, and then you roll down the windows and they are blasting out of the tailpipes. Absolutely obnoxious. Just
I feel like that's what Aston Martin's supposed to be like too.
Yeah, and it is to an extent. And I feel, because it's really funny, because literally down the street from us is a Lexus and an Infiniti dealership, so we get to see. I've seen the new what is it, the LCA 500 or whatever, the new Lexus. Yeah, we've seen those driving. I've heard them. I haven't driven one, but we've seen them. We've heard them. They're loud. They're loud. Like cars nowadays are getting so much better at insulating noise.
Yeah. I think manufacturers are learning, too, that when people buy a performance car, they actually don't want it to sound quiet out as a church mouse.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention a couple things real quick, and that's Bladed Angel brought up flat plane versus cross plane crank, which I know we'll definitely want to talk about. And he said the Voodoo sound is unforgettable. And then somebody else also brought up the 1UZ engine, I think that was, and like we can talk about the fact that we have a friend here who actually dumped a UZ engine for an LS variant in his drift build, which is an interesting topic. And he says you can find 1UZs for like $300 at junkyards. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty true, but how easy are they to swap in, and what's the benefits? And there was one other thing mentioned that I wanted to bring up. Oh, Boosted Buckets is here, and he's trying to twin turbocharge a V6 Mustang, so that's making up the replacement for displacement there, even though he just wants to blow it up. Everybody check out Boosted Buckets channel.
Is it the 3.7 or the 4-liter?
Ooh, I don't know. He'll have to answer that in the chat.
3.7 is work twin turbo.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's doing, I think. I think it might be the 3.7, but it's a pretty crazy build. He's got a cool channel.
Is it my generation Mustang or the prior?
Prior.
Did you say Mustang or Camaro?
Mustang. He's got a V6 Mustang.
Right.
What year is it?
Yeah, 3.8. It's the older one.
Oh, that's not okay. That'll be fun.
He just wants to blow it up. But anyway, so
Best thing to do with a V6 Mustang.
exactly. He just wants to, but it's going to be fun and make some fun noises while he does it. So, getting back to what we were talking about.
I'll be back in like 1 minute. I gotta grab something.
Does anybody know who Miguel is?
I was going to ask that actually.
I have no idea who that is. There was somebody else, me boy or something, who joined too. But anyway,
Elliot.
I changed my name.
Gotcha. So I think somebody just said, I think my favorite V8 is actually the one I have, 327 and a 71 AMC Javelin. And I mean, I think there's something to be said about that too. If we go into classic V8, somebody else mentioned they just love the 5.7 Hemi, which granted there's new ones, but there's also old ones. There's something to be said about, the sound of an old carbureted V8, but I don't know if they can be considered the best anymore.
I think I'm gonna meet Mad Cat next week. So. Oh
really?
Yeah.
Nice. Is that one of the people you're reviewing a car for?
No. I'm reviewing a 2003 Honda Civic SIR, which is the Canadian version of the Honda Civic for the SI for that year. I'm going to review that this weekend. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Bone stock except for tires, but that's not a V8. So let's get back.
Canadian VTEC. No V8 in that.
Oh no V8 in that, but it could use a V8 swap, I think.
So guys, which is the better V? V8 or VTEC?
Oh,
VTEC by far, absolutely, no question.
No question.
Get thrown back in your seat.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like a V8.
When it kicks in, it's just
you get some power, but VTEC, you hit the gas and like 5 seconds later. Oh.
When it kicks in, man, it's no joke.
It's no joke.
You gotta be careful. Gotta have your harnesses on.
Oh, absolutely.
So Rust Belt Garage joined, and he's also got an awesome channel. He's working on an Eclipse that actually does run, although it's the 420A, but he's going to turbo that BB and go faster than my car. He says the Ford 5.0 HO is still my favorite.
It's a cool motor. I had a 5.0 HO at one point also, and for the time, it was making pretty good horsepower, pretty reliable. Never had any issues with it. Beat the crap out of it. What's nothing bad to say with that. But on the Ford thing, let's talk about sound for a second. The current American V8s, I really, really like the sound of the Coyote. I mean, the thing, I've driven some pretty crazy ones. They rev like mad, but just the sound of it with that overhead cam, the quad cam is so unique. It sounds, to my ear, better than the Chevy, like the LT1 or even the LT4. It just sounds so good. I just really love the sound of the Coyote. There's something special about it.
Yeah. And now, but what about Coyote versus Voodoo? Because then that goes back to the crossplane versus the flat plane.
The Voodoo is even better. The Voodoo is phenomenal sounding at full chat. Like when it's ripping past you, it just sounds unbelievably good. It's so cool.
And that's actually one thing I wanted to bring up real quick in here too, is although they don't technically qualify, Volkswagen has their W8 engine, and technically Audi too, I guess. I think it's a Volkswagen originally though. And we listened to a video of it the other day, and I said it sounds like a flat plane crank V8. And Luke, our friend who's not here, R.I.P. He's not actually dead. He just won't join the damn chat. But he looked it up, and it turns out that the audio signal is the same because of the way that the cylinders fire in order. But if you haven't looked it up, look up a straight piped Volkswagen W8 engine, and they sound absolutely beastly. So they don't quite qualify for the category of best V8, but they're pretty badass. But I totally agree. The flat plane crank V8 is just a beastly sounding engine.
There's a really good explanation of why it sounds the way it sounds on Motor Trend. If you go look up the video with Jason Camiza, he's got a whole 20-minute video on the GT350 and the V8 and why it sounds the way it does. It's really good, and he explains it really, really well. So that's probably, if you want to get a good explanation for that, that's it's a great spot to go.
Yeah, if we're talking sound wise, I would argue that a German V8 is pretty incredible. Maybe it's just the fact that most of us here in America hear American V8s all the time ripping around, but a German V8 at full tilt on a noisy exhaust is an incredible sound, short of an American V8 with a big massive fat cam.
See, it's an incredible sound, but it's unreliable as all get up.
What, German V8s?
I didn't say it wasn't. I just like the sound.
Oh yeah, they sound fantastic too. I mean, they sound
Until they break.
What do you think, Eric? You know more people with German V8s than probably anybody I know other than maybe Taka.
I mean, the defining characteristic, well, they're pretty different. I mean, if you compare like an AMG versus a BMW, the AMGs have like a really deep, throaty kind of sound because they tend to be big displacement motors.
Right.
The BMWs are, the last V8.
They're normally high-strung V8s that rev to 8,000 RPM.
Whereas Jeremy Clarkson loves the Merc because it's just that balls to the wall, loud, throaty sound.
I guess I should clarify that's more of what I'm thinking about than a lower displacement BMW V8.
Yeah. I mean, the AMGs sound.
Hands down, I'd say an AMG. I have a soft spot towards Jag strictly because I work on them. But other than that, AMG V8 hands down is the Mac Daddy for sound.
Yeah, and like you might say, like the Jaguar, the new F-Type V8 is like the best because of how mean it sounds and it's got like the cracking and popping. But then like Top Gear kind of ruined that for me when they said like, oh, it's all computer. Like they make it do that popping and cracking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's just kind of like to me that's like a letdown. You know what I mean? Like if it makes those, it makes them.
So the thing is like any car that does that popping. It's computer.
But it didn't used to be.
Computer. Nailed it.
Well, I mean,
all they're doing is dumping a bunch of fuel into it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that you can also get that though from a tuned car or a car that's Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the sound anyway, and I'd probably have fun driving it. But to me, it's kind of like artificially enhanced sound of any kind is kind of like.
And you don't even have to have the popping. A lot of those cars still just sound fantastic at full tilt.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh yeah.
Let's see in the comments here. You guys can keep chatting about that, but I'll just
I mean, because I've got a 4-liter V8 right now from Jag, and it's even with its current exhaust situation, which is factory, it sounds good. It's a good running motor, but I'm in the transitional period. I'm buying a whole bunch of other shit so I can get a better car. So the end goal, I've been keeping my eye out for an XFR, which factory come with like 550 horsepower, everything else. So that's the end goal. It isn't quite full blown F-Type. The exhaust is different. The ECU tuning is different, but it's the same motor, same supercharger, same fuel. Everything else. It's just the tuning and the exhaust is different.
I got a question.
Yes.
Aaron, what would you buy if you bought a V8?
Like if I could just like have like if I wanted a V8, what would I get?
Like money, no object. Other like Ferrari's off the table because like none, odds are none of us here are gonna.
I want him to factor in price too.
Okay, factoring in price. If I let's just say I did have money, but I wanted to get the best bang for buck. Obviously, that kind of does scrap the Ferrari. It probably scraps the Aston. If we're talking brand new, obviously, because the used Aston might be a good deal. But yeah, so if we're talking new and value, I mean, it kind of scraps the Lexus too instantly because they're like 69 grand starting. Because I'd honestly love to see what those are like.
No. You can do used because you could consider an E92 M3. That's fair.
That's tough. I mean, you know, when Zachary's over here picking up $1,000 BMWs with the V8, like that's pretty tempting. But if I had to go best overall like value for V8, it might, you know, it might be a Mustang, but I'm really tempted just because I love the fact that Japan made them and they don't get enough appreciation. The Nissan VK45, the Nissan 4.5 liter V8s, which, you know, those are pretty badass. But
what car did that come in?
I'm trying to remember right this second, actually.
I think the G45, I think.
It came in a couple of the big Infinity SUVs, I think.
I thought they had. I thought there was one car that you could get it in that was badass, but maybe I'm just thinking of swaps that I always wanted to do.
No, I think the G45.
Well, to be fair, they did put it,
M45.
Oh, the M45. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, M45 and the Q45. But they did also put it in the Nissan 350Z Super GT at 490 horsepower. That's cheating. But yeah, I guess that would be a swap realistically because I'm more thinking of swapping that into a car. So yeah, I might have to go. Oh man, Mustangs are tempting. You know what I mean?
Well, let's set realistic price brackets. So in the $20,000 to $30,000 range, it can be new or used. What would you buy and why? So personally,
you have an instant answer? Yeah, what's your answer?
I'd buy an XJR just because I have a sweet spot for the 5-liter motor and I have a sweet spot for Jags. But if I had two choices, I'd pick an XJR and an E92 M3 because, again, I have a sweet spot for BMWs.
Only tiny town-sized ones.
So your final answer is which car?
My final answer would be the 5-liter XJR.
Gotcha. 5-liter XJR. That's a good one. Anybody else have an instant answer?
Jags.
For under 30K, used car basically because new is not a good.
But it has to have a V8. It has to have a V8.
Has to have a V8.
That's hard. I don't sit around fantasizing about many V8s other than like a GT350.
I know. For me, it's like if it doesn't have turbo noises,
I want an import. But
yeah, the GT350, which is way out of that price.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one I would go for. But realistically, I would, if we're just talking about the motor, I would just get an LS and drop it into whatever my current project car is, which is a 240 right now, but it could be something else. So just LS swap everything. I mean, why not? They're reliable. You can make good power.
What was your answer?
An LS, like an LS3.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty.
That's an expensive one. Just drop it into something.
If we're talking about 30 grand, like
you can get a C6
an LSA, a block, and all the ECU and everything. So I guess you're in that price range.
If we're talking about 30 grand and Marshall would shit his pants if he was here, it'd be a Terminator, a Cobra Terminator. I'd pulley swap.
Oh, that's true.
Boom.
Now,
Terminators.
you can get a clean Terminator now for under 20 grand.
Yeah.
Now, do think for a second though. 30 grand nowadays touches a C5 Z06, does it not?
It touches a C6 Z06, I
really?
think.
Yeah, probably.
Not quite. A wrecked one.
But at least a C5, and even still, that's a 5.7.
It definitely touches a C6, but maybe not a ZR1 or a Z06.
Right.
No, you won't touch a good Z06 at that price.
But you can get a C5 Z06 for in the 20s.
Yeah.
For
But still,
sure.
even a 97 Corvette was still 345 horsepower, 350 foot-pounds. And that's not even I don't even think that's the Z06 model. But that's like,
right.
Yeah.
But see, 345 horsepower out of a V8. Just, I don't know if my perception's just warped by, modern technology. But 345 horsepower out of a V8 just sounds so sad.
Well, let's not forget in 1997 that Subaru was making a near 300 horsepower gentleman's agreement 2-liter. But anyway.
Yeah, but then that dumbass Japanese law came down where engines have to be rated for, what is it? Like 240 horsepower was like the maximum they could be rated for.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. But so, okay, what I want to do now is break it up into brackets and see if we can come to some consensi. Is that even a word?
You know that's not happening, right?
It's
we can see. We can see.
Everyone here has far too different opinions to come to any type of agreement.
But we'll get to
Luke's
those in a
not
second.
here, so we might be able to.
Luke's
That's
not
true,
here, so
that's
we might be able to. Let's bash Luke since he's not here.
Yeah,
That's actually a good point.
But what is the best sounding V8 made? Let's say available today.
Stock or
Stock.
modified?
Well, I guess stock. I guess you kind of have
Okay,
to.
We have to do stock.
I'm
Let's
putting
do
my
stock
vote in
and
for
made currently.
I'm putting my vote in for an NA 6.3 AMG, not the twin turbo one.
Ooh.
That's my
Yeah.
vote.
Mm.
I would,
Like straight up like Jeremy Clarkson AMG Black Edition 6.3.
Stop. Let's talk about this real quick. What are the criteria?
Let's say that it has to be stock, and that it has to be. Let's just say, I don't know, because I mean, if we just include absolutely everything, then that opens up the spectrum to like race cars too. But so let's say stock, like non-race cars. Because there was the flat plane crank Fords of yesteryear that like nobody owns. So let's just be realistic about it. But a stock
Production cars.
Something that someone in this group could go out and buy tomorrow. Like assuming we had money for it, could go out and find a car.
That's not in a
And
museum.
buy it. Yeah, not in a museum and purchase
What
it.
criteria are we grading the engines on?
No. That's what I'm saying. This is just sound, which is the best sounding, period. I'm going to do brackets. So for start with, we're doing sound.
I'm voting the 350 engine.
Eric, what do you think?
the 350 is amazing sounding. But here's my question: is there a current Ferrari V8 that is not, boosted?
I don't think so.
No, the
I don't
450
think
is
there
not
is.
available.
Well, like it can be boosted as long as it's stock
488.
production car. It can be boosted.
Oh,
Wait,
whoa,
hold on.
whoa,
Did they
whoa,
stop selling the
boosted.
458?
The 450 is not made anymore.
Really?
No.
I didn't know that.
It's the 488.
It's a 488.
That's turbo, and that sounds awfully good too, though. So it's a sort of a toss-up between the GT350 and the 488, I think.
So we can do boosted or NA.
But it has to come from the
Sure.
factory.
If the boosted sounds better than the NA, it can be in this category. Why not?
How many of you have heard of Hellcat before?
Yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah,
are
good
you
sounding engine.
about to start talking about how the Hellcat's engine sounds good, or how you love the supercharger whine? Because I would say that's different.
But the
I
thing
love
is,
the
I'm going
supercharger
for
whine
both.
too. But that's
I'm
not
going for both. If you're
One
going,
second, everybody. I'd like y'all to chime in the comments too. If you're here and watching, what do you think is the best sounding V8? Just go wild. You don't have to follow the rules exactly, but we're gonna try.
but the catch is, if we're going to include boosted engines of any sort, we should consider what the boosting sounds like. Because one of the best parts of a supercharged car is just the scream you get out of it.
I don't know. I kind of agree with that. I mean, like, I feel like the supercharger is like an integral part of the engine, just like a turbocharger is an integral part of the engine. Like the turbo makes noises, and you can, like, for me, like I described it in my recent video where I talked about why I love my old crap, Honda Civic of Subarus, is because I can hear mechanical noises from the engine bay. The exhaust note itself is fine, but it's an NA 4-cylinder with primarily equal length headers. It doesn't sound like a Honda, and I'm glad for that. I'm sorry, but just Hondas, I don't know what they do, but they don't make good sounding exhaust. At any rate, but I can hear the engine running. And to me, that's a very nice sound. And I think turbos and superchargers are kind of included in that. And if you've ever stood next to a Subaru that's running, you know that there's distinctive noises coming from that engine bay that you don't hear out of every car. And some Hondas are the same, some Toyotas are the same. So I think that we can include that. But I personally think that the supercharger whine, while it sounds great in a video, would get pretty old for a daily driver. Because it is a high-pitched whiny noise.
But you're not hitting that high boost daily driving every time you leave the red light. I might, but
Really?
No,
it's not going to be screeching every time.
No, people in this chat, there's one person in this chat that has heard my Mini Cooper, and it is excruciatingly loud.
Is it really?
It makes me so happy. It's the best sounding supercharged car I've ever heard.
Really?
Because the supercharger is on the front of the motor.
It's so loud.
You get all of the noise out of the front of the motor, and it gets, especially if you put any type of intake, even stock, like going down the highway, the whistle at you because you're in and out of boost. You can distinctly tell when you tip into the throttle a little bit and you can hear it. The supercharger start to kick in. So it gets annoying but even still, it sounds so good that I can't get rid of it. You know,
it's not a V8.
It's not a V8.
So I think my vote would, I mean, it probably would be close between like the Aston V8 Vantage, the Merc, and the GT350R, but I'd probably give it to the GT350R because, yeah, I think there is something to be said for a sound that's unique too. And while supercharger whine is cool, it's not like the Hellcat's the only car that can make it. And you know, like the loud noise of the C63 is nice too, but the GT350, the flat plane crank, is just probably the most unique. So that's my vote.
Is the California still sold?
I have no idea. The Ferrari California?
The 488 California or
the Ferrari California?
That's a
Oh,
V12,
the one that the Quadrifoglio engine is based off of.
You can probably still get it, although they've announced the replacement. I forget the name right off the top of my head. So yeah, you can still get a California. And
I thought the California was a 12-cylinder. Which one is it? No?
I
No,
think
no,
you're thinking of the.
Yeah, it's a 3.9 liter V8.
Yeah, they sound pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true.
They really do.
I mean, I think it's still fair to include the 458 in this discussion too. But
Well, but it's not available right now, so.
well, but I think we know. You know,
Yeah, but you could go out and buy what is it, a 458? You could go out and like money no object. Like anyone in this chat could go out and find a 458 for sale and sign the papers tomorrow because they're out
Would
there.
that be your vote, Eric, if it was still sold today? I mean, you're only a model year off here.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that
Phenomenal sounding. That would be my vote.
There you go. So I think what we can say is that the top three would probably be something like Ferrari V8, be it the 458 or the California. I don't know if they're the same engine, probably not. But and then and tied up there somewhere the 350 and also the Merc, like the 6.3 liter nonsense Jeremy Clarkson mobile.
Actually, wait a second. Something interesting.
Something interesting.
The California is the winner on the horsepower per liter chart
Really?
because it's a twin turbo V8, the new California.
Oh yeah, but
No,
then you get
stop.
turbos again.
We're talking about naturally aspirated horsepower per liter. There's a big difference.
It's true.
And then somebody also said 440 Chrysler, which is I think getting pretty old school. He says comes in the Roadrunner. Actually, it was Rust Belt Garage again, and again check out his channel. Wrench Life says Ford's reliable Keck, and Wrench Life 604 has his own channel where he works on cars. So apparently he's not a big fan of that.
What about the flathead V8 Ford?
Damn reliable. They still pull them out of the junkyards from the 40s. And
Flathead V8 Fords sound really unique.
So I had to dab there for a fan. Bladed Angel's vote is GT350. He wants to say GT350, so he's got some hesitation. But
I don't know. I just need everybody to be in agreement that no one can make a V8 sound as good as an AMG V8. Like it's something, whatever Mercedes does, like Eric was saying earlier about the displacement. Typically, they don't rev very high. They aren't a Formula One engine. They're a truck motor basically, kind of.
Sound like a boat motor, and that's
and it sounds so good though.
Did someone say truck engine? Are we going down that?
No, I meant like in terms of like the way the engine. It's a very like long crank for the piston. It isn't a short, shallow one like a Formula One engine. So it makes that. It makes it. It's a very like it's like grunty. Like it sounds undescribable how AMG cars sound.
And a lot of that has to do with the exhaust tuning too, and the length of the pipes.
Yeah, for sure.
And the runners and all that kind of stuff is really, really important in making a car sound the way it does.
Yeah, and that's part of why we compare stock, because I think we can all agree that for 4-cylinders, Subarus, especially like the STI, tend to sound the best unless you really just hate the rumble for some reason. But generally, most people I talk to say, even if they hate Subarus, that they do sound good. And all of us in the know that that's mostly down to the unequal length headers. And so that's really just about the exhaust. You take that away, you take away a lot of the sound. But I think that's part of why we compare stock to stock, is because otherwise it's like you can put unequal length headers on a Honda and it sounds a lot better all of a sudden. But Honda never did that because that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right, because if you drive the FRS or BRZ, which I just drove a couple, and they sound like shit. horrible
Yeah,
sounding motor.
yeah, they
Sound
said
like
they sound like shit until you put those unequal light headers on them, and then they just sound okay.
See, I don't fully agree with you on that though, but maybe it's just because I'm biased. But like, I truly think that some 4-cylinders, NA, including the BRZ, and maybe like, you know, certain ones like the NA SR20 I have in my driveway, honestly sounds just somehow better. But like when you listen to stock Honda, I don't hate Honda. Honda makes great engines and good cars, but they just somehow make them sound worse than any other 4-cylinder. And as soon as you mess with the exhaust, it gets way worse.
Yep.
And that's just confusing to me.
Oh boy.
Oh, we have a joiner.
So this is the person. Let me introduce this guy real quick. So
Oh God.
many a year ago, he was coming back from his deployment and he wanted a sports car. So he went and bought a BRZ. He special ordered a BRZ. Now, why would you do that?
Special order it, you bucktard.
Oh, well, he looked for it because it was automatic, because he didn't want to learn how to drive stick. So he bought it, he modified it, and then a year later, he took all the mods off of it and sold it and bought a manual one.
Now, how long did we spend telling him, get a manual?
Yeah.
You're going to get an auto and regret it. Get a manual. He did it anyway, and he regretted it.
I wasn't
this
around.
is a lesson.
You want a manual, you ass.
He did. He bought a manual. So this is a lesson for everybody in the chat. If you're thinking that you don't want a manual, you're wrong. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
No, this is a lesson called if you say something, just fucking do it. Don't be a pussy.
There's always that. But the lesson is actually, if you're thinking about buying an automatic, just don't do it. You're wrong.
No, it was.
Hey guys, real quick, Aaron, do we need to keep this PG rated since it's a
I would prefer a lack of swearing and extreme insults solely to please the YouTube gods, but it's live.
How's that going to work, though? I can't do that.
I mean, do your best.
He doesn't want to lose his monetization, please.
So, Elliot, I don't really care. Nobody's going to watch this after. No, I'm just kidding. But, Elliot, introduce yourself, and that is name, where you're from, and which cars you have. You can also list your recent sold car because it's pretty badass.
And
Half/hat or. All right, well, I'm Elliot. I live in Raleigh. I had an automatic BRZ, sold it, got a manual BRZ, turboed the manual BRZ. Sold BRZ, got a 93 Mazda RX-7 FD single turbo. Sold that, and now I have a 370.
We're a little more to the Mazda RX 97, so it's the good one that everybody wants. Looks just like Fast and Furious, except it was black.
93.
But how many horsepower is that thing making?
I don't have it anymore. I sold it.
Yeah, but how much was it making?
On 11 PSI, it was making 380 to the wheel, and on 19 PSI, it's making about 510, 515.
510 horsepower RX-7, and then you only had it for what, 2 weeks?
3
weeks. He had it for 3 weeks and then sold it for a profit, that bastard. But anyway, so, and then your current car is?
370Z.
370Z. And now you're loving it, and you wish you had always had it forever.
Better than a BRZ.
Better than a BRZ.
What a shame it's not automatic.
And so I did burn Bladed Angel a little bit because he got the automatic Mustang, but I'm not gonna hate on him. And his YouTube channel's blowing up. He can buy whatever the hell he wants, man. In a few years he'll do the same thing as you, buy a manual. We'll convert him yet. Upgrade to the GT350R and get the stick, obviously. So they don't even sell that with an automatic, right?
Stick only.
Yeah, I would imagine. So let's see here in the chat if anything else has come up. H22 pretty beefy, though, for boost. That's not a V8, but I think we will get into in a second V8s versus some other alternatives. Hondas tend to sound like a pissed-off beehive. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever gone to a meet with a bunch of Hondas? It really does sound like a beehive.
But let's be honest here, is that Honda has some of the most ingenious motor designs ever.
Oh, absolutely.
They're super simple to work on. Super simple to work on. They're I hands down between Toyota and Honda, I'd pick a Honda any day of the week. Reliability reason, even like a GSR or whatever, Type R, I'd pick the Honda. Reliability reason. And they're in the same kind of group as Subarus where they're just Legos. You can, especially the old Hondas. So just a quick touch on Hondas. Everyone says they sound like beehives, and the way they design them, they have that weird like after they let off the gas, it's like it's vibrating the exhaust pipe like that. That
yes, that's what it is though.
Yeah, that's it. Like the induction noises there. Like just today I was state inspecting an MDX a 3.7 liter V6 MDX, and like the induction noise is incredible. Like Honda makes a good motor. It's just however the exhausts are designed, something about them when you let off the gas, it goes like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Civic SIs are better than BRZ. So what's new?
What's new, dude? There you go with the air rating. But yeah, there was a recent, I don't remember which track it was. It was a fairly long track, like 3 minutes and 40 a lap or something. But the Civic Si, the base model.
Verse 319.
Yeah, so just over a 3 minute track, which is decently long. But the Civic Si beat the BRZ with the newer one, not the Aero one, but the
2017 with performance packs. So
with the performance packs.
5 horsepower.
And it beat it by
Mustang dampers. No, the BRZ makes 5 more horsepower than the Civic.
No, they make the same. They're both 205. But the BRZ lost by what, 4 seconds?
3.
6.
Which anyway, somewhere a few seconds, which is
It
good
lost.
on the BRZ. But that's a topic for another night, folks. Elliot, I want to know if you had, let's just say, if you had 30 to 40 grand to go buy a V8 car today used, what would you get? What V8?
And hang on, we have to set down the rules. Is that like money, no object? You have
30.
to find
He has 30 to
the
40
car.
grand.
This is the different. Sorry, this is the
the
different.
same one we did earlier. I gave him a little bit more leeway. I gave him up to 40.
So
if
it
he wants
has to
go
be
there.
a V8.
Yes.
Yeah, if you had to pick up a V8 car tomorrow that was under 30 to 40, like, be reasonable.
Are we talking new or used?
Used.
Either way.
Either way, but
Or
but
used.
it's going to be, I mean, you could buy a brand new GT for a little bit more than that or whatever, same price. I don't know, 38.
Fuck. Come back
So
to me.
Oh, we'll come back.
We'll go over our choices. So I picked a 5-liter supercharged XJR, the new one.
Yep.
Are we going based solely off of the engine or the entire car?
No, like which V8 would you want in a car?
It's a whole package. Money.
You're obviously not going to want a freaking Mercury Mountaineer. I mean,
I mean, like
I thought you said the Cobra. Didn't you say the Cobra?
That was what I said. I
yes.
said a Terminator, and I have a feeling Elliot's going to agree with me on that.
No, I'm not actually.
Really? No. I thought you were Mr. Street Racer Fast and Furious.
Well, see, that's what happens. But when I met a friend up here and I saw his wife's daily, I'm going to have to go with the Mercedes C55 AMG.
Ooh, there it is, the Mercedes vote. And I think I said, I mean, like a C5 Z06 would be pretty friggin' tempting.
Okay, see, okay. So it's either this or a C6Z. Either
Are
or.
you going to get 30 to 40? You might.
I mean, 30 to 40. We gave it 30 before, so the C6 was kind of just out of reach. But yeah, I mean, either way.
The C6 is not out of reach.
You can get one
Here
for
is a-
about 40 now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
C6Zs used are about 32 to 36.
There you go.
Here's a 2007 Z06 with 18,000 miles, and they won 39 grand at CarMax.
Ooh, there it is.
So you could get it 10 grand cheaper anywhere else.
Yeah, so I would actually,
CarMax wise.
being the Ford guy I am, I would go for the Z06.
So now let's see
Yeah, I'm
if we
going to
can
go
get.
C6Z.
All right, fair enough. So the C6 is definitely a popular, or the Z06 in general from Corvette. So
But
now
the catch is with that, though, we have to remember, we're probably a little bit biased because everyone would like to own a Corvette once in their life.
No,
I
it's
could
just
go
the
with
best
that.
buy.
I wouldn't. I'm not. I like the idea of the Corvette, but I would not like to own one.
Eric, have you owned a Corvette? You have a little more experience on your belt.
I have not owned a Corvette. I'd like to own one, but I can't quite bring myself to get a Corvette.
Dude, I'm sorry. You're just like reminding me of Robin Williams so much right now.
It's kind of
I've
true.
heard that before.
Oh man, you also get Conan a lot if
Conan
he has the
O'Brien.
hat off.
I see that.
Not Conan the Barbarian.
Conan O'Brien and also the Arrow. What's his name? The actor.
No, just with the hat on.
Just with the hat on.
Yeah, just with a hat on. That's it.
All right.
No, but C6 is the best choice to be honest. But like
See you later, Austin.
any day of the week, Audi R8. That's in the story. That's just it.
Audi R8. Oh, the Audi R8 V8.
Oh, that's a good sounding.
Fuck
V8.
no.
Oh,
I drove one, but I mean, you don't buy an R8 to get a V8 in. You get an R8 to get a V10.
We're talking about V8s,
We're
Elliot.
talking about V8s. Elliot.
It's a cross-platform.
That's it.
That
You're cheating.
doesn't count.
That's cheating.
This is supposed to be engine based.
Whatever. C6Z done. Final period.
I gotta tell you though, no matter what engines are like best or whatnot, I would love to. And like when my YouTube channel blows up and I got all that TJ Hunt money, right? And I just be like, yo, like do all this shit for me. I would love to like find a wrecked like RCF in a few years and take that engine out and put it on like a Haltech and put it in something stupid. Because like 500 horsepower and a 5.0 Toyota V8 in like who knows, I don't know what the hell you'd put it in, but some small Toyota car or some shit like that'd be a good time. Some small
SI.
put it in a 240. I don't even care. Just be like, what's in that? Is it a 2JZ? Like, nah, man, it's the freaking 5.0 from the.
Put it in the Miata.
Put it in a Miata, exactly. Fuck the LS.
Okay, we just need to touch on that real quick because I feel like the Miata chassis gets overused, and it's gotten to the point where like you can put anything you want in a Miata chassis, but there has to be like at what point does 600 wheel horsepower become too much for a chassis to handle?
No such thing. Miata's always the answer.
We actually have a local in Jacksonville where I used to live, and he had an LS6, but he recently switched to an LS3. And on spray, he's making a tad over 600, and he still pulls down almost 10-second times at the drag strip, and it handles it just fine.
I feel like eventually it gets to the point where like the wheelbase becomes too small for the amount, or you know, like it's just the vehicle.
Are you talking like this way or like this way?
Great description, Elliot.
Like yeah, like not only length but like width. Like I don't know if you snapped around like a small car, like trying to get it sideways. Like it'll go sideways, but it'll go sideways really quick.
Like a BRZ?
Yeah, like a BRZ.
Just
different than a Miata for sure.
Just do the typical thing. Just do a wide body, aka just plaster dip some fender flares on it. Done.
You mean like hacksaw plus wheels that are way too wide and like wrecked wheel bearings?
Yeah.
No, don't even stall it. Both them things straight on.
Okay. So just like leave the fenders to rub.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. I do think that there's such a thing as too much horsepower for a platform, but that really depends. Like if you're a race car driver, you know, you're always like if let's just say an F1 car has a lot of friggin' power, even for the platform. They have the best suspension in the world, but those guys still have to know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if you put an idiot driver in a 300 horsepower car of any kind, they can crash it. You know, so I do think that the Miata chassis is probably going to be flexing a little bit, trying to handle that, but what does that really mean?
I mean, just swap a Ford 88 rear end. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still gets to the point where like the chassis
is the universal swap for high horsepower.
What's that?
I mean, I thought the 88 swap was a universal rear end swap for smaller cars or any car, really.
But does that mean that the wheelbase and the chassis stiffness are enough to handle it?
I mean,
yeah, that's my argument. I feel like there's a point of like where it's just too much for the car to handle. Like a 240, like you know, like it's the same kind of thing. It's just it gets to a point where like it's too much.
So RevMatch, have you gotten any offers to drive a V8 Miata? There's got to be tons of those swaps out there.
I don't know if there's tons. I haven't yet, but I'm sure I could go find one.
Do
if
it.
I wanted to.
That'd be cool.
I have an offer for a C7 Z6 and a C6 Z06, and both of those. So I'm going to compare them.
They're nice.
I want to try to get them on the same day so I can compare them back to back. That would be really cool. So I've got them both. It's just I need to schedule them to get them in the same day. That would be really cool.
That would be pretty sweet.
Someone who's got a V8 Miata, I can basically get anything scheduled I want to test drive, which I'm going to take advantage of because I'm in the spot with crazy cars. So why not?
So I thought about something. Did anyone consider the CTS-V when they said yes to the V8?
Oh, no.
Yeah, but that's supercharged.
Yeah, I did. However, if you're looking at overall perspective, though, C6Z will still beat it out.
Yeah, it sure beats it out, but if we're talking about the whole car as a package.
Well, I'm always going to be single and never have a kid.
The whole car is a package out of this group of cars. The two best cars is a CTS-V wagon in terms of practicality. You know, like you can.
Yeah.
And what did we find out the price on those was? Isn't like the cheapest in the country like 38?
Yeah, you're not gonna find one.
No, good God, no, dude. You can get a V2 for like mid-20s.
Oh, but not the really good CTS-V wagon manual though. Like that's the unicorn.
Mid-30s.
Yeah, well that's
mid-30s.
That's being selective.
1 sec, Eric. What were you saying?
There was a CTS-V wagon that came on Bring a Trailer the other day it had really low mileage. It went for about 60.
That's stupid though. That's like
that's
huge
low mileage though. Most people sell their Vs around 50 to 70, and that's when you pick them up for like to mid to high 30s. Because I'm on CTS-V versus the world. I see them every day.
Manual wagon though, there's not too many of them around.
There's not a ton.
Oh,
Yeah.
This was the
So
last
the
gen,
manual's hard to find as it is. There's a guy, one of the guys I work with has been looking for a CTSV forever, and eventually he had to give up and just buy an automatic one.
Boo. Should have driven
Yeah,
1,000 miles.
When I bought the Charger, the dealership had a V coupe manual for sale.
Don't buy the. As much of a coupe person as I am, the V2 coupes look like they look like door stops.
Yeah, they do,
Look like
but
door stops.
Wait, what car looks like a doorstop?
This CTSV.
A door stop.
oh my god, he's right.
Which
It
car?
does look like a doorstop.
What car? I missed it.
The CTSV V2.
Like the coupe? Oh, yeah, the coupe is weird. But to be fair, a
That's
Corvette,
like a door stop.
Corvette looks like a doorstop too, guys. Let's be real here.
No,
No,
but
it doesn't.
look
The
like that.
V2 looks like this, and then like this, and
Yeah,
then
it's
it comes
true.
down to like this. It's a doorstop.
Oh man, that's pretty
Doorstop.
Doorstop. So, quick question. I wanna go a little bit into companies replacing V8s with i6s and other options, which is something we talked about a lot. But before we go to that, let's see if we can get a semi-consensus. Which country, and probably Japan and Korea aren't really in the mix solely because they produce so few. But and by the way, what do you guys think about the Korean V8s? Have any of you driven one, like the Genesis Coupe V8 or like the newer?
The Genesis isn't that impressive.
You know,
JDM?
I've driven an Equus with the 5-liter V8, but
The
that
new
was no, it was like a 2012.
Oh yeah, but still fairly recent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quick. It's in the same kind of category as like, you know, a 5.7 Charger kind of thing. Like it's quick, but like it isn't like you're not lighting the tires up in second gear running down the highway. You know
I always
what
wonder
mean?
how much of that is down to the tuning, because the Equus is meant as a luxury vehicle.
It is,
and it also
absolutely.
is heavy. And so, like, how much did they tune out the performance for smoothness versus like a GT350R is not about that. But
And
did it
that's
sound good?
Well,
It sounded okay. The main thing that I was focusing on was that the cooled seats were the best cooled seats I have ever experienced
That's
in
what
my
Hyundai
life.
are known for. Heated and cooled steering wheel and seats, like on every car they sell.
Cooled seats are life changing. Life
I
changing.
wouldn't, I wouldn't know.
The
Eric, what do you
Corvette is
think?
really
You've got
nice.
cooled seats.
The Corvette is a really nice cool seats, I gotta admit.
So what I wanted to get to though is, like I said, Japan and Korea are probably out of the mix, but between Germany and America, who's made more good V8s? And I guess, like, you know, I think I know what most of you are gonna say, but I want to know, who do you think is the better V8s over? And keep in mind that Germany also includes, well, I mean, technically the Aston Martin V8 is made in Germany, but you know, Aston Martin is really not like a British brand anymore. So
I'll start with
just American versus Euro. We can just do it like that.
I mean, we can do that because then that includes Italy as well.
Yeah. So I'll start with this. I own 2 American V8s, but I absolutely love my manager's E92 M3. It sounds just beautiful.
Hold on, real quick. I just found out something. Did you know that France developed the first V8 engines?
Nope.
They
Who
did
cares?
it.
They surrendered.
Pioneer airplanes before 1910. So you can thank
Yeah,
the
they had
French for the
3
V8
reverse
engine.
gears and 1 forward.
You can thank the French for the V8 engine. I just want to let you know. Last name French. Don't worry about it. Anyway, no. I just thought that was interesting. So carrying on. So you said you own 2 American V8s, but
I do love an E92 M3.
Hmm.
I think it doesn't have a good enough torque curve, but it sounds damn amazing.
Nothing a supercharger couldn't fix.
So anybody have a vote? Which one's better overall, Euro versus USA?
I'm going for European, not because I own 2 European V8s, but just because I enjoy how they sound. So if I had to work on them every day, I'd say the American V8. But if I had to own them every day and listen to them, the German or the European V8s for sure.
I mean, Ferrari is pretty hard to beat in terms of like sound and performance and all that. Not that it's going to be the most reliable, but they sound so unique with the flat plane crank.
They do.
They scream in terms of sound, unbelievable. Nothing like them. Nobody makes anything close to a Ferrari in terms of sound.
I mean, I certainly agree, but I mean, like, it's just like we were saying before. Unless you throw like a fat ass cam in there, or some other type of thing. I mean, European V8s just sound way better. And hey, guess what? They rev, unlike American.
do.
Yeah, well, let's see.
But I love me a
Wait
Coyote.
a second.
motor, too.
Rev to what? Rev
Money
to
aside,
what?
I have to agree with European V8s being superior. If I had to own one and maintain one or work on one, it'd be an American V8. But money,
Yeah.
ownership aside, European all the way.
So are we actually at a consensus that from a performance and like enthusiast angle, what gets your Jimmy's rustled, that Euro actually makes the better V8 overall?
Yes.
No.
Mike's
We got
gonna be
one
the only
holdout.
that disagrees.
So we have one holdout.
I
Okay,
still
that's-
think
that's
the
pretty
Voodoo-
good.
I like 'em
I
all.
still think the Voodoo beats all.
Hey, we have 17 watching because we're voting right now, so just keep it up. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate all the views and all the likes and all the comments. Keep it coming. Good to have you all here. I think my vote
Like
is
the one exception.
what's that?
I said the Voodoo's like the one exception, but if you look at it from an overall consensus, if you look at overall Euro, overall American, it's like,
So how
you have like the Voodoo just
Euro
up here.
V8 became a thing because American V8s actually made the V8 a popular choice.
But what about
Yeah,
like
and you're
but how long did it take for American to make a modern full-fledged flat plane crank V8 that is used in like a high production car?
But the catch is that wasn't always necessary. And the thing is, in America, we care about a high torque at a low RPM versus a high horsepower at a high RPM.
Well, I mean,
That's
you
just
do
the way
because
the
of
consumer
V8.
market looks at this.
Well, I mean, in America, I guess everybody takes off from stoplights and doesn't care. But I guess in everywhere else in the world, they're always racing and actually staying in the RPM range.
I just want to mention this real quick because I was looking it up out of curiosity. The Jensen Interceptor, like the famous British sports car with the V8, which was featured on Top Gear at some point, I know. The two engines that came in that car, actually there were three, but the two best ones, as far as I can tell, were the 6.3-liter Golden Commando V8, which apparently was a Chrysler B engine, and the 7.2-liter TNT V8, also a Chrysler engine, and they also had the 5.9-liter LA V8. But the TNT and the Golden Commando have to be two of the best engine names of all time.
And also to point out, you can still get an Interceptor today, but it comes with the Corvette power plant.
What? Like they're remaking it?
You can go buy a perfectly good chassis and body of an Interceptor and get it refurbished by a company in Europe to make it a Corvette power plant.
Well, I'd rather have the Golden Commando, so piss off. So if you do factor in reliability and price to maintain, does that instantly change everybody's vote to U.S., or would some of you still go Europe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Hey,
well,
I own two European V8s. One of them I haven't owned long enough to experience yet. The other one hasn't broken down on me, but I also work on European V8s every fucking day.
Look at this.
Yeah, but
somebody-
the thing is, you have to look at average consumer beating the crap out of a vehicle versus like an actual car person doing proper maintenance and maintaining it.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
there's you like you put the XJR I have in numerous consumer hands, and they're running out of coolant, they're running out of oil, they won't check things, and it's really easy to do.
I think that's why Euro V8s get such a bad name, because you have all these status buyers that just want the badge and they still don't know how to take care of a car. And so
none of them are going to read their service interval booklet when they get the car. They're just like, oh, BMW will send me a notification now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That would
Like,
notify
you have
me.
a lot of status buyers running them into the ground.
Aaron,
What?
send the invite to Marshall. He wants in.
Well, where the hell? It's in the Facebook, man.
Well,
He's-
he just.
Let's get done with my V8 before we invite him in here.
We have to
If
move
we're
past
going to
this
have this
topic.
vote, if anyone should be in here, it should be him.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can't.
let's
we
go
can't
for
talk about
Terminator.
V8s without Marshall.
All right, we can
Terminator
have
is
Marshall,
off
okay with
himself.
that. I don't even. Hold on, give me 1 second. I mean, technically, any of you could invite him, but hold on.
I sent the link to him. So
All right, good. All right. So, shit. So, I did want to read some comments real quick, and even if
It's
Marshall comes
interesting.
in here,
Nobody's talked about Dodge V8s. There's probably some amazing Dodge.
because they don't rev.
Chrysler
They're
V8s, but
crappy.
nobody's talked about them because
Dodge makes like, I mean, Dodge V8s do sound good though.
super torque.
One of my favorite cars that I would own rear-wheel drive and as a sedan would be a Scat Pack Charger.
Because it's auto, right?
No,
We
wish
did
it-
talk about the Hellcat and the Demon, but even talking about NA, I think the thing is NA Dodge V8s just don't get a lot of limelight. But we all know that a Charger and a Challenger sound good, even stock. Like we all know that the SRT8 Jeep kicks ass. So like,
Here's the catch: you can buy a brand new off the lot right now. The dealership down the road from me. I could go walk in there right now and buy a Scat Pack Charger for $34,000. That's a 6.4 liter V8 with 485 horsepower.
Well, then why'd you buy an automatic charger?
Oh!
We've been over this all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive my ass.
I got the last year of the all-wheel drives.
Well, then you should have bought a Subaru because. But anyway.
No, I wanted a V8 and I wanted rear-wheel drive bias, so I bought an all-wheel drive RT Charger.
My V8 automatic all-wheel drive.
Why don't you just buy a GTR?
You can't do
Yeah.
burnouts in an all-wheel drive though.
Buy a GTR.
Yeah, you can. You can turn off the front portion.
Well, then it's
And
not
but-
really all-wheel
That's why you
drive.
said if you do that, it just keeps doing burnouts.
Wait, all right.
It's not an all-time all-wheel drive system. It's a independent all-wheel drive system.
Yeah, but the catch is it's an electronic transfer case, so you can turn it on and off yourself if you just get one little tool.
Oh, so it's not like a factory option, but it's kind of like the Subarus where you can pull a fuse and it becomes front-wheel drive?
Pretty much, yeah.
In the automatics, not the manuals, by the way.
It's not. It's better than the Haldex system.
Gotcha.
God,
So I do want to go to
everything's better than a Haldex.
I do want to go to the
Yeah.
comments for a second because we did have some good insights there. Somebody mentions that a 1.5 liter V8 sounds crazy. I will agree that some of those like motorcycle made V8s or the custom made ones are awesome. 458 engine revs to 9,000 RPMs. That's always, I mean, that's why it sounds so freaking good. Bladed Angel says, as much as I love the Voodoo, I do agree it's not the best flat plane crank. It still weighs too much compared to its European counterparts.
Price
Anyone
no
else?
object? Absolutely.
And let's see. Voodoo is a Ferrari V8, basically, is what somebody said.
No, it's not. Whoa.
No.
I don't know if that's exactly
That'd be
what
like
they meant.
saying all flat plane crank V8s are Ferrari V8s just because Ferrari did it first, or Ferrari makes the most flat plane V8
It's the American
cranks.
flat plane crank. I mean, it's the only other one.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ford did the flat plane, what, back in the 60s, was it? The Mach 1 Mustang race car, whenever that was?
No.
There was an original flat plane back in the day, the one that had to have the crossover exhaust pipes to actually make it, like, work.
Oh, that's a throwback. Wait.
Yeah, that goes way, way back, but that's like the original Ford flat plane that those cars are worth like $1 million now. Let's see here. Somebody else said,
Not into V8s. You're on the wrong stream, Danny.
who's not into V8s?
Danny Fashaw, IG Saver 2G.
Yo, so I'm gonna read this one like I'm Denny. Man, V8s suck. I hate that terrible canned tomato juice. Slap my forehead and tell me should have had a V8 and see what happens. I don't actually know what Danny sounds like, but that's what he says, and I'm totally on board with that. Give me my i4. I mean, my H4 any day.
Dodge, the worst car manufacturer in the world.
Not totally
It's
wrong.
true.
Not
Oh,
totally
Listen to the Viper.
There's Marshall sitting in his Infinity.
I'm hot shit now.
Dude,
Yeah, there you
his
go.
video quality is as good as his picture.
Yeah.
nice.
So we've gone over a lot. We pretty much came to the consensus that not factoring in cost and reliability, Euro V8s are better. Factoring in cost and reliability, everybody flipped their answer and said American V8s are better.
Depending on who's driving it.
Yes, and we do say that Euro V8s get a bad rap because they're driven around by a bunch of people with a bunch of money and no sense. Are you just going full handicaps right now?
Beatus.
This go.
Wait.
Full Beatus.
Can we get Beatus to introduce himself?
Yes, we can. So the last thing I was going to say is...
No. Let me do the introduction.
All right,
You know
you
why
can
I
do
like
it.
V8? Because I'm fat and I have diabetes and they're lazy like me.
Oh.
Elliot, would you please introduce the Beatus leader over here, please?
Okay, so Marshall Harris is my twin from South Carolina, and for the last 8 years, he's been driving the dankest of the Stangs.
It is beyond dank.
What is your Mustang again?
The
Call it
dankest.
what it is. It's not a Mustang. It's So thanks.
Okay, but what is it? What year Dankstang is it?
It's the slowest one ever made. A 1998 convertible automatic GT.
Oh my god, it is terrible. I didn't even know
man.
it. I
You had to
didn't
see
know it was an
it.
automatic, man. Why do you even still own that thing? Sell it for scrap.
He did.
Like I
You
can't
wanna
forget
know-
when
you wanna know why
Angel
he got
got
an
a brand new
automatic?
automatic with the paddle shifters. That thing's like faster than this.
Dude, it's got the DSG, the like dual shitty gear transmission.
You want to know why he got
It's
an
got like 2
automatic?
gears in it.
Worse than Elliot. Marshall
Why?
got an automatic because he wasn't allowed to get a manual.
Oh, that's bad.
I was 16 at the time, though.
That's
So,
true.
I mean,
that's a legitimate excuse though.
I guess it is.
That is why I got
It's not a legitimate excuse for why he hasn't sold it.
I admit it.
No, it's gone.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it is?
Yeah. Did
Oh,
he
that's
not
right.
trade
'cause
it?
you-
no, I didn't trade it in. They offered me like $500 fucking dollars, and I was like,
You should have taken it.
Look, I haven't pulled my tongue, so you have to understand.
it's got a V8, so that means it's good, right?
So Danny Fischel liked it when I said sell it for scrap, and which would only get you about 300, by the way. So you should have taken the 5. And Bladed Angel says this guy's dank saying got me dead.
No, see, they don't understand because they never rode in it.
Is it good?
Oh, it was amazing.
It was so good.
I couldn't see anything. I was
Doesn't it at least have like a bunch of exhaust leaks?
No. So his car has limo tint on it.
Yes, 2.5%.
Wait, does it even make sense to get 10 on a convertible?
Yeah, I don't want people to see me driving it.
Dang. Oh.
No interior.
I have no AC. So this is what happened. When I leave the house, I roll the windows down so I don't sweat. When I see somebody coming, I'm like, oh, fuck. And I roll the windows up to kind of like hunker down and seat.
3.8 liter.
So that what
4.6 liter.
Oh.
Yeah.
But at least
Yeah.
it's not the 3.8 V6 or whatever it is.
No, I would have like had to chop my balls off if I wanted a V6.
Oh man.
I mean, what type of bag if I was a V6?
Well,
I mean, right,
if
Elliot?
he got the V6, he could have gotten a manual.
He did get a V6 manual.
Yeah.
Marshall, can you tell us how much horsepower your Mustang made out of its beautiful, glorious V8?
Oh my God. Are you ready for this? 4.6 liter V8. The single overhead cam, not the
I'm
dual.
gonna bet 194 horse.
225. I had the upgraded version, the 98.
So hold on. So it's making less than 50
Body
horsepower per liter.
The original Fox Body made that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried hard to get that power out of it.
Less than.
Yeah, but the original Fox Buddy was badass. The
The original Fox Body was like 1,000 pounds lighter because it was nothing.
That makes worse horsepower per liter than the original. That makes worse horsepower per liter than my car. I have a 1.8 liter at 110 horse.
Yeah, but I dragged your ass, bro. I got torque.
Guys, we don't talk about the 4.6 from 1996 to 2004.
We just pretend it didn't
Pretend
happen.
it doesn't exist.
Matu valve.
Matu valve. Can somebody make that their license plate?
My two valve.
MUHQVLV.
Just Matuvi.
Matu.
That's it.
To Matuvi. Bladed Angel. Let's see. I wouldn't either, but at least it's a V8. My brother always calls convertible V6s poon tanks since their demographic is normally 16-year-old girls.
Oh.
That's bad. That was not RA acceptable, Bladed Angel. What's up with that? Stick shift convertible is unicorn. I guess that's kind of like a Nissan 240. Like you cannot find stick
I mean,
shift.
my Miata's a stick shift convertible. It's not.
That
a
doesn't count.
Count,
He
man.
does.
Miatas are for faggots.
No, let's not get onto the homophobic slurs if we can avoid that for the YouTube.
Oh, no. Haven't you seen the South Park episode? That
Oh,
one is
that's
not
very true.
homophobic.
Okay, yeah,
It's
we're
just
talking
for Harley
about
riders.
fair.
Yeah.
YouTube, if you haven't seen South Park, I highly recommend it. Keep my monetization on. But anyway. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. If you resigned as the RA for taking the year off, so I guess you can make the girls jokes about 16-year-old girls.
Oh, jeez.
Let's.
I don't. On the note of like TV shows, real quick. There was this one guy who made a Vine. It was hilarious. I think his name's like Evan something, and he makes like these joke vines. And one of them was there was like a guy next to him, like he was playing it out. He was like nice Beetle, and then the other guy was like, it's a Porsche, and like the guy's like yeah, nice Beetle. And he like starts rolling up his window, like the other guy's screaming. He's like, it's a Porsche.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. That one's pretty good. By the way,
Is there $5 at the end of the story?
Yes, absolutely. That's what makes it interesting.
Shut up, guys. So I want to get into now. So actually, we can give Marshall the same test here. If you had to go out and spend, we'll give him 35. We'll be oddly specific. 35K, and you had to buy. Showing off my muscles in the Sundrop shirt. If you had to go out and buy a V8 car, used or new, but most likely used, tomorrow for 35K, what would you get? Has to be V8. You're like a 1998 convertible automatic.
Oh, hang on, no. No one
4.6-liter Mustang.
No one gesture him into his obvious choice. Do not gesture him into his obvious choice.
I don't even know.
No, see, I don't want a 98. I want a 96. It had 10 less horsepower.
But what would you actually get?
No, I'd probably go for 35,000. That's the 1LE. It hasn't dropped that much yet, so that one's out.
You got this.
So it'd come down to between my big honking 6'4" Hemi or a probably be a 2013 Boss 302. And if I could squeeze in a Laguna Seca.
Marshall, you failed me.
Marshall!
You want to know what my answer was on that question, Marshall? It was a
Terminator.
A Terminator, Marshall.
Holy swap!
Did someone say E-Type?
E-Type?
But Terminators are. I was trying to max out that 35,000. If you said 20, I'd grab a Terminator in a heartbeat.
But no, the Boss 302, that's a really good choice. Are they that low nowadays, 35?
Well, you can actually...
They've dropped in price since the GT350s kind of came out.
Could you get
Laguna Seca Boss 302 for 35? That's a damn good. That's a damn good choice.
Could you get a Latina Seca at that price?
A Latina Seca.
You could probably buy a Latina.
This goes back to our chats on Facebook, by the way. We go back and forth. Sometimes literally the chat will just be filled with people scrolling MUH pulley swap like all the way down, and like somebody like, did you buy a Latina sexy? Like, and then Laguna Seca because autocorrect is a jerk.
You could probably find a 2012 Laguna Seca for 35. They're the more obnoxious looking, which are pretty awesome.
Elliot is screwed up. Elliot in the chat with the Movistar 8.
No, there's an asterisk because it determines the amount of pulleys on it.
Actually, what can you get a GT500 for? One of the first GT500.
I looked the other day. They're down to like 25 for like one that has like 100,000 miles.
I saw one. There's actually at the Hyundai place about 3 miles from me. They have a 2007 one with 31,000 miles on it for, I think they're asking 30,000 flat.
Yeah, so you could realistically get into a halfway maintained GT500 for like 20 grand.
But 30,000 miles, that means at least like 3,000 pulley swaps.
So Danny, 3,000 for pulley swaps. So Danny, the V8 hater, said he'd get a Bentley with a V8 and keep his DSM as a project.
Gross.
Okay,
we want to talk about unreliable ship boxes for a minute.
Who saw Doug DeMuro?
He does have a BMW though, and it is the 335i. So
Bentley Continental GT Super Sports. I would take one of those.
Those are killer. Those things are killer.
That's actually not. Hey, Marshall, that's not our Danny. That's a different guy.
Oh, different Danny.
We're talking about. All right, so we commonly refer to Dodge as a land yachts. So if Dodge is a land yacht, Bentley is like a freaking Zeppelin.
It's a land Titanic, yeah.
It's the HMS Titanic.
But I got to tell you, though, one of my favorite episodes of Top Gear ever is James May taking a Bentley down a friggin' rally course and it actually doing it.
No, I think
I'm going to get out of this damn house so I can go get my Waffle House. I'm going to have a shit fit.
What?
I'm sitting here waiting for my friend to come out of the house.
I'm from the South. I drive a 98 Mustang.
What is happening here? The Essential American has joined us. He is currently trying to go to Waffle House. He owns a Mustang, and he has diabetes!
I always wondered if you bought a V8 if you had to just get one of those testers, like for the blood sugar. No offense to anybody out there who has diabetes, but
no. We just have the quintessential American.
It depends on what type, because I think the Beatus was born with diabetes. He didn't gain it.
All right.
He was born with it and molded it.
You're simply. You're.
So, guys, back on topic a little bit.
We're going to hell.
We're all going to hell, but that's
I've
beside
already
the point.
got my spot reserved, man. I don't
If
care.
we go to hell, we can all just buy Dodge Demons. So funny. At any rate, well, back on topic a little bit. So we've talked about what the best V8s are, and obviously there's not going to be an easy consensus, but we've all agreed that Euro makes awesome V8s, and America makes good V8s that are more reliable and easier to maintain, and that BMW owners generally suck. This is generally agreed upon in the community.
Yeah.
But actually, Bladed Angel made a hilarious video lately. It's the five types of college car guys. And like one of them was like the rich foreign kid who just owns like the most expensive car but doesn't actually know anything about it. And then it's like, so like he goes to the meetings, but until he actually truly becomes an enthusiast, like he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, it's a type of dude that's like, you can beat my ass, but my dad will sue you.
Yeah,
that's the lifted truck genre you're thinking of.
Ooh, that's true. Man, I gotta tell you, when I go down to like Connecticut and I see those mall crawlers.
Yeah, the mall crawlers are the genre you're thinking of.
V8 mall crawler.
Yeah. Touch me, and my dad will sue you. Okay, so a mall crawler is those like the SEMA trucks that are lifted like 3 feet up in the air with like 40-inch tires on them and tons of light bars that never go off road.
We talking about lifted trucks?
We're talking about the trucks from Nopi.
Like, okay, so if your truck has wheels that are at least, you know, this big, and they're all silver and like shiny and look like they would break.
You're wrong.
And if you have like those golden truck nuts hanging off the back, and like
if you have the truck nuts, you go off road. If you have the truck nuts, it's confirmed. You go. I don't
know, but if you got the smokestacks and if you wear like the work boots, but you don't actually have a working job, then you probably have a mall crawler. Anyway, so what I want to get to is, what about companies that have been replacing V8s? And obviously this has been happening for a long time, Euro and America, V8s with V6s, turbo or not, and even 4 cylinders, typically turbo, to make up the replacement for that displacement.
Chevy Camaro.
Chevy Camaro. So what about the Chevy Camaro?
Screw the EcoBoost Mustang.
I think that's largely all these replacements you're seeing with smaller displacement engines is largely out of necessity. We have the federal government to thank for that, CAFE standards.
Just want to know real
cheaper
quick.
Pricing.
Just want to know real quick. We have Michael J. Santini Jr. in the comments. Badass name. I have truck nuts on my Kia. There we go.
Guys, I'm gonna have to jump off. So
Eric, what is your favorite replacement for displacement engine?
They can hear everything we're saying right now. Yeah, I'm in this live chat.
Marshall, shut up.
Fuck
I
you.
don't know. I mean, a replacement for a V8? There really is no replacement for a V8.
Well, what about, for example, the M3 went from a V8 to an i6 turbo. You know, like American V8s got like EcoBoost Mustang.
BMW does do pretty good straight 6 turbos that sound good.
They do.
Ton of torque.
No, they don't. The new V6s sound like shit.
Let Eric finish. He's got to get going, and then y'all can chime in.
That's my take on it. I mean, you know, big fat torque band. You got torque from 1500 RPM, and it's flat up to like 6,000. Not too bad.
Not too bad. So thank you very much, Eric, for joining us. That is Eric from RevMatch. Everybody go check out his channel. If you enter RevMatch TV into the search, you'll find him. Or go look at some of my shout-out videos. I've got links there. But he's got a cool channel. Just did a drifting video. First time drifting his 240. Got some tips from a semi-pro. I don't know exactly what it is. But pretty good time. And he's got a lot of other really good, really funny content. Check him out.
Thanks. All right.
No problem.
See ya.
Bye.
So let's see. Somebody says mine is a 2JZ or a J Series V6. I don't know what the J Series V6 is. Is that the Honda?
J Series is a Honda, yeah.
and
3.2, 3.5, 3.7.
I mean, those
Were
aren't technically
replacements for displacement, or
Right,
were
those
they
aren't
just V6?
technically replacement for displacement motors because Honda never made V8s. But if you were
I do love a 2JZ.
But yeah, but you do love the 2JZ. And then Bladed Angel says, if the V8 is still an option, but the i4 Turbo is a choice, that's fine. What makes me cry is the 2017 Ford freaking GT. Why, Ford? The flagship car that was known for a V8 is now a V6.
All right, let me start on this one because we've had this discussion too amongst ourselves here.
It'll also come back up with the NSX, I'm sure. When we do that
The Ford GT was never a big V8 car. The Ford GT was produced so that they could drive the V8, the GT race car in Le Mans, but they had to produce production cars to be eligible. So this was a car based on a race car. This wasn't a big V8 car. So when they made the new one, they took the most logical choice for a race car, which these days is a V6 turbo.
Interesting.
Twin turbo all-wheel drive, everything.
See, but there's no denying that the old generation Ford GT was possibly the best car Ford's ever made, in my opinion.
Oh, no, I don't disagree.
Which one? Like the Jeremy Clarkson one or the old school one?
The Jeremy Clarkson one.
Okay.
The supercharged 5.4 V8.
Right, the one that he had to send back to get fixed like 6 times, but it was still his favorite car ever.
Yes.
Hey guys, I made it.
Yeah. Ooh, where
Here's
you at?
Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Waffle House. There's some Americana for you right there. Let's see.
This is true Americana. If you don't drink this, you can just go somewhere.
I like Guinness.
I think
but
it's
don't really
Irish.
drink. It is Irish though.
You say
I'm going to go be fat and stuff my face.
Wait, so Rev Match is leaving, but he said in the comments you can't buy a V6 Mustang anymore. Is that actually true? Did they actually kill it?
Yes, they did, and it pisses me off.
Oh, I thought they were still pushing it, but it was just not as good as it used to be.
No, for 2018 they killed the V6 Mustang.
2018, it's killed. Okay, so now your replacement for displacement. I got to tell you though, so the Ford EcoBoost, we can trash on it and we can talk about it a little bit more. But the
It's a
amount
good
of
ass motor.
the amount of
It's a
torque
great
you get out of that engine is incredible.
It's a Mazda motor. It's not even a Ford motor. That's the problem. It's
That's
nothing
what they came from when
special about it.
Ford owned Mazda, man.
Yeah, but there's nothing special about it. They advertise it as a super special, we developed this EcoBoost technology. However, it is all based off of the Mazda Speed 3 engine.
But the
It's
Mazda
trash.
Speed 3 engine was engineered partially by Ford because Ford owned Mazda.
I understand that, but my point is, it gets treated like it's brand new technology, but it's really not. All they did was apply the name and say, here's our EcoBoost Mustang.
I do
Except
think that's
you
slightly
have
hard to say, though, without
Mustang
actually putting them side by
in
side and knowing
That has the
percentage.
same power output.
You're pulling a that dude in
But
blue right now,
guess what?
Mike.
I wish I could do the SpongeBob rainbow emoji, but rear-wheel drive EcoBoost.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was gonna buy a Mustang, tomorrow, I honestly think, even if I had the money for the V8, that I would rather get the EcoBoost 4 with the stick shift and with whatever that sport pack is. That's like $2,000 that upgrades almost everything on the
Backpack?
car. Is it the backpack or the sport pack on the lower
And
one?
Aaron just lost all his subscribers.
No, I didn't, because they're all people who love small 4-cylinders with turbos.
No, it's not. The inline 4 from Ford, like the RS. Dude, don't even get me started on the damn Fiesta. Like, if you want a car that sounds like a real fart, like, okay, Hondas sound like beehives, but Ford inline 4 turbos sound like literal farts.
I
Like,
don't
no questions asked.
fully agree. It all depends on the exhaust, but like stock, they don't sound fantastic.
I have to. Okay, no. All of them. We can all agree on this. All of them sound like they're sneezing constantly.
No, it's a fart. Fiesta
No, the
ST,
blow-off valves.
Focus ST, farting, and then ka-choo, out of nowhere. And then EcoBoost Sport, farting.
Wait, hold on. Are you from cars? Are you
Freaking
freaking
atmospheric blow-off valve.
ka-chow, ka-chow, ka-chow.
Literally makes
Ka-chow.
no sense. Like your Fiesta ST turbo with a huge ass turbo makes still 200 horsepower, but I need an atmospheric blow-off valve to show how small my freaking
Okay, but I don't
Number
like
is-
the huge blow-off valves. There's a big difference between having an intentionally loud classic, Need for Speed video game, like and having the proper setup.
Every time you go to a car meet, it's Fiesta STs. They like rev up to get in their spot. They're like, psh, 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 like getting into their parking spot. It's like
they
please.
don't even have to rev because how their system's set up. Like, because I was behind this one 3 weeks ago when I was in Asheville, and literally he would take off from a stoplight and then not even get up in high gear or high revs, like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 RPM. As soon as you get off stalls,
but that's a sign that either their blow-off valve is set too low, or the car makes boost at really low RPM, which is a good thing.
All Focuses and Fiestas, RS, EcoBoost, anything sound like that. They all do. And you can put just a filter, not even a new airbox on them, not even a blow-off valve, and they sound like that.
Zach, kiss me.
I can't.
Hold on. But so what is the exact specs on the I'm trying to find the exact specs on so the 2018 2.3 liter inline 4, 310 horse, 350 foot-pounds of torque in the Mustang. And it's not even, I mean, how much does it weigh? How much does a 2018 Mustang
weigh? A lot, because it's a fucking Mustang.
Isn't it like, yeah, it's like 35 or 34, which is still heavier than you might like, but at least it's not $4,000, and 350 foot-pounds of torque is going to move that car.
Yeah, until 15 minutes later, it heat soaks.
Or until you hit above 3,000 RPM and you make no more torque.
Those things have surprisingly large turbos. I learned recently working
they're like TD04s.
Some odd millimeter turbos on those 2.3 EcoBoosts to make that power.
They're probably more like a 16G then, or whatever they want to call it.
I thought they were like a TD04, like slightly bigger. Like
I don't think so on the Mustang.
It's a four-motor turbocharger.
Because I had a TD05 in my BRZ, and that's the equivalent to a 20G.
Well, yeah. I work on a Vokes, and we have a I think it's a 2-liter EcoBoost motor, and we actually have your stupid turbos on them.
Hey. That's not my turbos. Those are made in Germany.
They're awful.
Asheville, we didn't touch those. I don't want to hear it.
Oh God, they're awful.
They're awful.
You're awful.
But I'm just saying, I don't know if anybody in this chat is with me, but if I was going to go out and buy a Mustang for the price difference, I think I would buy the EcoBoost 4 in the Sunset Orange with the track pack, and I would put the extra, whatever it is, about, what is it, 8 to 10 grand difference for the GT?
It's not 8.
It's about 6.
I think it's a little more than that.
About 6.
Base. I think
it's like 6 grand.
Well,
6 grand.
But then maybe I just put that into like a bigger intercooler. And
you have to buy your balls back first.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: is that like an EcoBoost plateaus. So I actually have a local friend who's going through this. So he's like Vara Stage 3, big turbo. He's maxed out. The next step for him is an extra fuel pump and E85 fuel injectors in a fuel rail. That's his next step. And he's maxed out at what a bolt-on tune 5-liter can do. That's it. A bolt-on tune 5-liter.
Do we actually have a Luke Mosley joining the call? Luke, are you here?
I'm going to point out it is a $5,500 difference from EcoBoost to V8.
Yeah, it's not that much.
It's not that bad. I mean, I thought it was more like 8.
I mean, but literally, like the entire thing is like for some people, like 400 wheel horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque at the tire is more than anyone ever needs. But then, the majority of the people in this chat are all in agreement that that's not enough when I could pay $5,500 and get a stock 5.0 that with bolt-ons and tune makes that.
Yeah, I mean, for that only being
for like 10 grand, get 650 wheel with a Ford factory warranty.
What?
No, actually,
we'll do a supercharger with a factory warranty that makes like 600 wheel.
There's a dealership in Ohio that will sell you the 700 horsepower turbocharged with warranty. I mean, supercharged with warranty 5.0 for $39,000 to $40,000 out the door, complete car.
So just to mention real quick, let's see here. What? See that K20 swapped? Oh, somebody mentioned that there's apparently a K20 swapped NSX that makes 1,000 plus horsepower.
Dude.
That's just random, but that's kind of impressive. But I bet you it's not a very streetable car if it's only a friggin' 2 liter.
When you should have been
B20
B20
an LS in an RX-7. Don't mess with the NSX.
I kind of like LS RX-7 swaps though. Like, what else are you going to swap into it? I don't know.
Nothing. A bigger, a 3-rotor, a 4-rotor, not an LS.
But then
LS.
But let's remember how much a 4-rotor swap costs compared to an LS swap. You can even do a Coyote swap cheaper than a friggin' proper rotary build.
We need to get Rob Dom on here now.
Rob Dom, come to my live stream. I could probably get some bigger guys. Actually, so anybody watching, Kyle from Boosted Boys has agreed to come onto one of my streams sometime. I'm not sure if it's going to be on this channel or RevMatch, but we are probably going to do a live stream about project cars. I don't know how many of these goofballs will be on there because it's going to be more YouTube exclusive, but maybe, who knows. And so look out for that in the future. There'll definitely be announcements if I'm going to have a Boosted Boy on the channel. So Bladed Angel does say yes, the difference is $6K, which we already looked up. And I will admit that if the difference is truly $5,500 or $6,000, I thought it was more like $885. I know it's only a couple grand, but really that couple grand makes a difference. And like that is a really, but I don't know, there's something appealing to me about the Eagles.
Here's one thing to point out.
We have a Luke Mosley in the channel. I think, Zach, would you introduce him? And then we need to ask Luke the questions we asked Marshall.
Okay, so to give you an idea, Luke owns a 2012 STI?
Yep.
Hatch.
The hatch.
Full bolt-on and tuned. He also owns a 2014 BRZ, 2013?
2013.
BRZ with all the normal stuff, intake, wheels, big brake kit, exhaust. Yeah, we can hear you.
You might want to turn it up a little.
And he's also very, very obsessive about weight of vehicles.
So am I, though. Luke is right. Weight is the most important factor in a sports car by far.
Okay,
here we go. Here we go.
Not today.
Stop. We need to ask Luke the introductory questions. Aaron, would you please ask him the question?
Well, so first of all, Luke, your name is Luke, but where are you from? And we already talked about what cars you had. So where are you from?
Why does that matter? I'm on.
I don't know. I mean, just state. You can just say state and like city or district.
No, ask him about V8s. Ask him about V8s.
Oh, we have Adidas too.
And he's showing us the quintessential American problem. This is what is wrong with America.
Wait, hold on. Does you actually have diabetes? Have you seen this?
Yes.
That doesn't seem.
He actually has diabetes, and he actually owns a Mustang.
Anyways, so Luke, what we went over a bunch of stuff, but the question for now is if you had $35K and you had to buy a V8 car tomorrow, what would you buy? It can be new or used, but typically it's going to be used just since that's, $35K is pretty low barrier.
Well, I know nobody's going to tell me I'm wrong if I say Viper.
You're fucking wrong.
Not a V8.
That's a V10.
Not a V8.
Yeah, but it's the same principle. Come on, who's going to really say if you're looking at muscle cars, sports cars?
No, Luke!
The name of this live stream is International V8 Engine Throwdown. V8.
If I can't buy an Audi R8, you can't buy a Viper.
Wait, so Luke is going to buy a Viper and unplug the two cylinders that fire unevenly.
That'll work.
No,
Oh my God.
which V8 car would you buy, Luke?
Well, I mean, come on. Didn't we figure out that they don't have even timing or something crazy? So it's basically a V8
Stop
motor and there's
talking
two
about
other
the
cylinders just doing something random.
Luke, stop. Answer the question.
He's afraid to answer.
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I haven't driven the M3, and what else is out there? Your boss is out there for that.
Even if you haven't driven it, just give us this doesn't. You're not going to have to buy it.
You got Terminator, you got GT500, you got Corvettes.
C6Z, best option.
C6Z06, yeah.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's the popular opinion.
All right, so I'm the only person in here that bought the big luxury yacht.
Whoa, no. I have all the same luxuries you do.
But I mean, as far as this challenge, the question, I'm the only person that bought a car that weighs over 400 pounds.
Because you make bad decisions.
Hey, just want to say real quick, Bladed Angel, thanks for stopping by. I don't know which thing we did that set him off. I think it was Luke's fault, but he says, "I'm done. I can't handle this. I'm out, y'all." So he also did say that the EcoBoost models of the Mustang drop like a brick in value, which could be a good thing if you're looking to buy a used one. So
the reason they do is because of all the rental fleet vehicles.
Maybe that's true. And then
but I do want to bring something up with the Mustang real quick. That price difference between the EcoBoost and the GT used to be a lot more of a price difference. Back when they introduced the 3.7 V6 and the 5.0 Coyote, it was about a $10,000 difference between the two models. Back then, it made sense to get a V6 because of money.
I mean, there was a time where the V6 was like a really solid choice, even though it got all the crap that it did.
What's the GT start at right now? 33, 34?
Not
Yeah, I
even.
think we figured out about
starts
30.
at 32.
Yeah,
damn,
it's
that's
like
so
low
cheap.
30s.
I mean, it's not cheap for me. I can't afford a $1,000
Yeah, but
car.
for the
But that's
amount of
cheap for
performance, like price
No,
per dollar,
wait,
like the
wait,
Mustang has it.
No, the GT starts at 33,
right. But
and the EcoBoost starts at 26.
yeah.
So it's a $7,000 difference.
Wait, I thought we figured out it was 55.
No, it's 7,000. The incentives make it look stupid on their website.
Damn it! But anyway, I did also want to say, everybody who's watching, go check out Bladed Angel. He gave me a shout out. I appreciate it. It's a really good channel and a really funny video on types of college car guys right now. I enjoyed it, and I definitely identified with a lot of what he said. The guy who will drive anything he can afford. Anyway, so
Selling the ding sting.
selling the dang thing. I won't drive the dang thing. I'm sorry, it's an automatic. I'll drive anything that I can afford with a manual. So Luke, the other thing we said, which overall do you think makes the better V8s? If let's just say, which makes better V8s, Euros or Americans? Just flat out, which one's better total number of V8s?
For the stuff I like, it's Euro. I mean, we can talk about truck engines. It's the exhaust.
Yes, truck engines.
Japan.
Somebody, Danny Collins says Japan. Did anyone even realize we had him in the actual chat?
He's not here yet, or he's just avoiding his face. But Japan doesn't make V8s. I mean, they're not known for it. What's a famous V8 from Japan?
It's basically just the 1UZ, the new Lexus RCs, and the VK engines from Nissan. Plus, there's like a few other random smatterings. But
yeah,
I mean, the RCF engine is really impressive, but it's in a car that doesn't show it off. So
yeah, but the Voodoo still gets the win overall. I mean, nothing else is like that motor.
So your vote for best V8 period is Voodoo?
Yeah, like I would almost literally skew my opinion to saying that American V8s are better solely because that motor is an American V8.
And if you had to factor in reliability and cheapness to maintain, would you just instantly say America's better overall, or do you actually think that Euros get a bad rap?
I think Euros get a bad rap because they're probably all in cars that are far more advanced and luxurious than the cars that the American V8s are in.
Ooh.
Motor, it might not be nearly as bad.
It's like a repeat's happening.
So we're basically all in agreement that European V8s are better than American V8s in terms of their design and sound, but in terms of reliability and maintenance costs, the American V8s win 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I would say that probably car to car, yes. I'm sure there are some, like, just like the BMW motor that's in the in the Z4. Like, it's reliable, but I mean, overall, BMW motors compared to
Somebody timestamp this. We just agreed with Luke on something. Luke agreed with us.
I mean, to be fair, I agree with Luke all the time because but y'all are just so ridiculous that I gotta side with you sometimes. But so Monster Cat for Life said I would get a 2009 to 2012 Mercedes C63 AMG, which I think we can agree.
That's a great buy.
Good choice.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I just wanted to say Winchester said that I will go with Aaron and get the EcoBoost 2.3 liter Mustang. There we go, one for me.
That's a bad choice.
It's a bad choice.
By
But
Luke's logic, Danny, come on, you can't say that.
no, but that's true. By Luke's logic, I'm going to go with the LFA best V8 car.
Yeah.
But I will say, so what about buying? If you were going to buy a Mustang that's like a year old used though, and you can get an i4 for now like 10 or 12 grand less, would that make a difference to any of you?
Do what?
Like if like after a year, if you were buying a used Mustang that was a year old and you could buy the i4 EcoBoost for like 10 grand
No,
less.
I would never buy a V4 muscle car.
I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't buy the EcoBoost strictly because there's a lot of them around where I'm at, and I see what they're capable of, and it isn't all that impressive.
Good to know. I mean, I'd have to test drive them. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't just
You know,
I got a question. I got a question that follows into that.
Yes.
What other platforms are out there where you would ask enthusiasts if they would buy the non-top trim model?
No, but I'm saying given the price difference, not money, no object.
Well, I know, but regardless, I mean, are you going to sit here and talk to people if they'd rather have the 328i than the M3? I mean, it's...
What about WRX versus STI? That's a question people ask every day.
That's true. They're a lot closer than a EcoBoost.
They're a lot closer. I think a better comparison would be like a 535i compared to like a 550i.
But BMWs are so friggin' dumb with their naming and engine choices.
Well, to give you an idea, 535i has the N55 in it, a straight 6 3-liter with a turbo on it. And then the 550i has a 4.4. I think it's the same motor I have in mine, a 4.4-liter V8.
No, it's the same thing, just like the Chevy SS versus the 4-cylinder turbo. It's the same concept.
Yeah. The thing is that like the Mustang and the Camaro and there's a reason V6 Challengers exist is people want to be in a muscle car, but they don't want to pay the muscle car prices. Okay,
and also better fuel economy typically.
Well, I spent for mid-grade on my Jag the other day. I posted a picture of it. It was like $52 to fill up my car.
Well, yeah, let's not forget too that we're in the lowest prices that oil's been in literally ever.
The prices have gone up a little bit because of Houston.
No, but I'm talking about generally for the past 6 plus 8 years, whatever it's been since the recession, that oil historically, like adjusted for inflation, is at like an all-time low and has been for like 5-6 years.
Not compared to the early 2000s now.
Even then, with inflation, it's pretty goddamn. But anyway, it's really close, if not the lowest. But if we have another oil crisis anytime soon, even if it's a minor one, anything like the recession, even if it gets halfway there, imagine like how the auto industry is going to flip even more the way that it's been going.
I'd be driving my minis every day. I wouldn't even touch my V8s.
We're in a V8 glut right now. Everybody's still making V8s. Even the Japanese are still making V8s because gas is affordable.
Yeah. If the prices spike beyond what they are now, I haven't driven my Mini in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Just because I enjoy driving the big luxury yachts more than the Mini.
I wouldn't drive a Mini either.
Is he feeling okay?
That's hurtful.
Mini needs to do it right and give it all-wheel drive and put a V8 in it. No, I'm just kidding. They do need to make actual all-wheel drive cars to compete with like the Focus RS, though. I think that would put Mini in such a different place, but they're too expensive. That's the problem.
Yeah.
New, that is. So I do want to say real quick, Danny Fichot with the DSM project is in Florida, and he's got a hurricane coming too. So best of luck to you. This guy with his diabetes shot. I don't even know if that's like YouTube safe here.
You do that in public?
Hey, man.
There are children here.
I need it, man.
And so Danny, keep safe. What I've heard is just head north. That's what we did. That's why I live in the mountains of Vermont. We don't have natural disasters here. What did you say, Dan? I mean, Marshall?
Oh, I got called ma'am. He was like, have a good night, ma'am. I was like, damn, I mean, I know I got big titties, but come on.
Oh, man. It was the beatus. That's what did it.
Are you already done in Waffle House?
Yes.
America!
That's why I joined back, to show y'all how quick I ate it.
Wow. That's impressive.
Man, it must be nice to have back seats in a 2-door vehicle.
I had back seats in my 2-door vehicle.
So, Luke, are you actually going to get to drive a GT350 anytime soon?
Stop.
Who's donating? Maybe I should start a YouTube channel to get funds.
You should start a YouTube channel that's just... Yeah, Luke's here. He's just quiet.
My 200 horsepower is all I need here.
The 200.
Here we go.
So here's all the different license plates. Somebody gets my V8, somebody gets my V6, Luke gets my 200 HP, and somebody gets my 2-valve, and I get...
No. Luke gets my moped.
My moped.
Yes, Luke is a moped.
No, Luke gets my Lotus.
Did you guys see what I said earlier? That's the most horsepower of a 4-cylinder boxer ever. I mean, not that anyone else makes them, but like by
it's still only 200.
Oh,
wait. So which car are you talking about, Luke?
Well, there's nothing else out there to compare it to is the problem. But like,
what are you comparing?
A 914 from the 70s made 99 horsepower from Porsche, and then obviously all the other Subarus that don't make 200 horsepower out of their 2 liters.
So wait.
Talking about a BRZ motor in FA20.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the highest horsepower per liter per liter 4-cylinder boxer. Yeah.
Yeah, by like.
I mean, it almost matches the Honda, and I don't doubt that they probably could match the Honda if they wanted to put a lot more like money and R&D into it and charge a little more for the car.
Did you say waffles?
We did not say waffles. But it's a pretty impressive engine. I mean, nonetheless. But I know it still has the torque dip, and it's still not fast enough, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but I mean, they were out the gate. They were going to make sure that was a 4-cylinder. I mean, that's why they went to Subaru. So like, that wasn't ever an option. So it was going to be a motor like that, and it was pretty good power for it. I mean, considering what else has been made in the history of cars.
So speaking of V8s, I still really wish somebody would make an H8 again, although I know it'll probably never happen. But my dream was always for Subaru to just for some reason go bananas, like maybe somebody has a mental breakdown at the company, and say, what happens if we put 2 STI blocks back to back, make a 5-liter H8, twin turbo it, and make it faster than a Mercedes AMG?
You'll pop 2 ringlets at the same time.
Ooh, shots fired.
Gee, that sounds like a really awful idea.
It sounds like a fantastic idea, and if you say it's not, I don't know who you are.
Subaru tried the big boxer motor. They did their flat 12 Formula 1 car.
That was a stupid project that involved the Italians.
That was a long time ago.
The flat 6, the Tribeca motor, is actually a pretty successful flat 6.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
okay,
It's a good
hey,
engine.
the V6 and the Imprezas, or I mean the Legacies are actually kind of nice. So they
Yeah, it's
should-
it's the same platform.
They're good. They're good motors.
Easy 30, Easy 30 with the variable cam phasing, and the Easy 36. They're all the same basic platform. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
they're good motors.
super reliable. They're ultra reliable. They have good torque. They've got a good torque to horsepower ratio. They've got fairly decent output per liter,
and they're not that heavy.
and they're not that
They
bad.
make strange sounds too. It's real interesting.
Well, they're also timing
good. They're
Go
good.
look by in
strange
Asheville that's got
sounds,
an
though.
H6 swapped Forester.
We're getting a little off topic here, but I also will say that
Since we're talking about Subaru, are we going to be talking about which is the best vape mod next?
Can we?
'Cause, I mean, I got some good ideas.
There's too many people here for just random chatter like that. Oh.
Luke, quit being picky. We're
Luke,
going to end
get off
pretty
your
quickly anyway
high
because this
horse.
has been on for about 2 hours and you joined too dang late, Luke. But we probably won't limit it next time. Luke, I do want you to be in. So just for anybody still watching, we're going to have some more of these in the future, and some of the topics are probably going to be about the BRZ more. We'll get into a real discussion about if it's a good car, bad car, fast car,
BRZ
slow
versus
car.
NSX.
And we'll have a different one about the NSX. And is the NSX good? The brand new one, which I'm not the biggest fan of. We have a few fans in the chat. We have a few not fans in the chat. And also, the ultimate question of all time, and you all can leave some comments on the video after. What is a sports car?
Oh no! God.
Yes.
No!
Yes.
No!
Come on, you know we gotta have it.
Please, God, no. Please,
You know we gotta have a what is a
no,
sports
no,
car
no,
chat.
no,
Yes. What is a sports car?
Okay. If we're gonna have this conversation, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick.
Not now. No.
That's a whole nother live stream.
No. Okay, I'll be right back.
Do it on
Anyways.
one hand.
Alrighty.
One hand. Real drive.
Nope.
2-door.
Nope. Different
Two
stream.
Different stream.
Less than 3,000 pounds.
Different street.
Miata is always the answer.
That was muted.
Yes, Miata. That's yeah.
So, Luke, have you actually considered buying a V8?
Yeah, if priced at exactly what it would cost me to afford a GT350, they got to come down in price. That's all.
How much would it cost per month?
About
I don't
250.
know.
Oh,
I don't
just
remember it.
grand total?
Less than my 2 currently bank-owned cars.
So you could sell 2 Subarus and buy a GT350, and you haven't done it.
If I saved every penny I make until Christmas as of January, yes.
Wow, you really have figured out exactly what this.
Yeah, no, I wasn't lying. Yeah.
That's fair.
Nobody wants to jump on that ride. You have no idea what that car is going to be worth in 10 years.
This is true. Kind of like the Boss 302 Latina Sexy.
I would
probably
wait until the GT500 shows up. I think that's going to change the price of the GT350.
I agree with
I doubt
Ron
it.
on that.
All right, so here's a good topic to end on, and we'll go from like left to right here, so we're not all talking over each other. What engine do you think the next GT500 is going to get? Balls to the wall, Ford's, Elliott, you can go first.
Boosted V8.
A boosted V8, boosted with supercharger or turbo?
if it holds true, okay. So I have two options here. If it holds true to Ford fashion, they're going to take the Voodoo and they're going to supercharge it.
Okay.
That's if it holds true to Ford fashion. However, if it's following the trend of the new NSX of destroying that reputation, they're going to go to
the Ford GT.
They're going to go to a twin turbo V6, make it all-wheel drive or some shit, and they're just going to ruin the whole car.
But your bet is on a supercharged Voodoo.
That's if it follows the Ford trend of the GT500.
I want you to pick one, man.
I can't. It's
all right,
two
fair
options.
enough. So, Luke, what do you think? What's the motor in the next GT500?
Yeah, I mean, they'd be dumb to go away from the Voodoo. I mean, it's got people like me who think a BRZ is better than STI wanting to own a Mustang. I mean, it's a good motor. So they'd be stupid to throw it away and just supercharge the 5.0.
It'd be an extremely short run for that engine, too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but, I mean, that's part of the reason that car holds its value is they're not selling that motor any other way, too, right? So, like, you know, people are building cars and swapping stuff can't really get their hands on a Voodoo yet.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd say it's got to be a Voodoo. I mean, I don't know, supercharged, turbocharged. Ford seems to not really care what Chevy's doing, which is kind of cool. They're kind of doing Ford stuff. Chevy's screwing themselves over, making the Camaro better than the Vet.
That's why the Corvette will be mid-engine.
Ooh, well, that's it. That can be a whole other time. Somebody also did say Evo versus STI and why. That's an old school debate. We can do that another time too.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, I know. But
stay on topic.
Stay on topic. But so, Luke, what's your bet?
I mean, yeah, it's just one of the two. I don't know if it's a high revvy motor, it doesn't really want to be supercharged as much as it want to be turbocharged, I guess. So maybe it's turbocharged.
Turbo Voodoo? That'd be interesting. Daniel Collins also says too many Subaru. Oh yeah, too many Subaru fans in the stream. But Daniel, what's your guess? Lynn Chester says twin turbo Voodoo. Maybe that'd be pretty insane. Monster Cat says I'd like to see a turbocharged Voodoo. So Marshall, what's your bet? Are you there?
He took his shirt off and walked away.
Oh, sexy. Ma V8, what's your bet?
I got a feeling it's going to be the Voodoo. But
Just
it's
the
going to
Voodoo?
be boosted somehow.
Boosted Voodoo.
What are we talking about here?
I really hope it's supercharged because that's what they've always done, and that goes with the GT500 feeling. But considering how much you're pushing the EcoBoost thing, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was twin turbo.
So Daniel Collins says, what did he say? He said charged V8, be it super or turbo. So it seems to be the consensus. And Taco, we're talking about what's the engine in the next Ford GT500?
Supercharged Voodoo.
Supercharged Voodoo. We do have a vote in the chat for a hybrid Voodoo.
Ooh,
no,
spicy.
I don't think that'll happen, but that would be a hell of a surprise for sure.
No, if Ford actually wants to put their reputation down the tank, they'll screw up the GT500 like they screwed up the GT.
But according to some people in this chat, making things hybrid makes them better. Topic for a different time. Anyway, and lastly, we got Captain TWRX over here. What do you think?
I mean, as much as the logical choice is a boosted Voodoo or a boosted V8 in general, I think it's going to be a twin turbo V6. How that would shake everything up.
God, what is
that would
wrong
just
with
shake
you?
everything up, and we know they can make power out of it.
Yes, but it's not the Ford GT500.
No, but
neither would people consider the Ford GT to be that way.
What if they literally put
not
the
a
Ford
GT
NSX back then? They destroyed it, therefore it's not selling.
But what if they actually put the Ford GT motor in the GT500?
Please hold. Did you say the Ford GT is not selling? I'm pretty sure they took thousands of applications to buy one, and they only allotted 500.
All right, so Luke wants to say
NSX. Sorry.
Also, sorry, the GT500 has not always been a supercharged V8. The 60s one was an NA 7-liter.
That's just because they didn't do supercharging in the 60s.
But you're just saying it like it's some awesome legacy. You're talking about one car from 2000, what?
2007, it was called the GT500. And the reason, one of the things with the naming and the motor was designed to have 500 horsepower. In 2007, that was a big deal.
So maybe it'll be the GT600 and use the 4GT engine tuned up.
Yeah,
No,
but,
they won't use the 4GT engine, though. That's the catch. Because the 2013 and 2014 GT500s had 662 horsepower.
Well, I'm just going to make a Ford GT 5000.
They've got so much time and engineering and development into that 4GT motor to put it in a 500 or 1,000 unit car.
But
They're
they can
not
already
just gonna
make
put
it.
all that R&D into it and throw it away. They've got to do something with it.
Right, exactly. So it's a twin turbo,
It's in a
3.5, 647 horsepower.
It's
Is that
not the same motor.
It's in the truck. Yeah, it is.
It's not the same motor. Do
It's
not
not.
As much
start.
as I would like to say the Mustang has a truck motor, the Ford GT does not have a truck motor.
No. The Raptor and the GT share a lot.
They share a lot, yeah, but it's not the same motor.
Well, it's as close as you can get. I'm sure
Well,
something.
that's like
The
saying
Viper is a truck engine.
yeah, that's like saying the 6.4 Hemi from a Charger is the same as the 6.4 Hemi in a Ram.
It is.
No, it's not.
Daniel Collins says, what would it compete against? The Hellcat, the Demon? My answer to you is who the hell knows, because the Corvette's going to be mid-engine and the NSX sucks. So
Yeah,
Wait. We're not ending the chat with those two.
My F-150 had a Coyote.
there you go. But honestly, though, any of the Dodge V8s that are the same liters are essentially the same engine.
No, they're not.
Can
In
anyone,
the same way that an F-150 Coyote is the same as the one in the Mustang.
Coyote, bruh.
Like
Yeah,
the Dodge
but the
Hemi
thing is
5.7 liter is a Dodge Hemi 5.7 liter. They tune it differently. Maybe it has different cams.
But the thing is that our Jag motors are very loosely based on the Coyote motor. That doesn't mean that our Jags have Coyote motors.
No, but
No,
I'm
it means they
saying
have truck
changing
motors.
the cams in an engine does not mean it's a different engine. It's still the same engine, even though it's a different spec.
So you're saying if it has the same block, it's the same engine?
I'm saying if it's the same block and essentially the same compression ratio and very similar in terms of power and torque, then yeah, it's the same damn engine, just
But
different
that's
spec.
but no, that's the thing. The truck engines in the Rams are different from the engines in the Chargers and the Challengers in that
But if they're
regard.
the same block, man, I mean, like literally, that is what defines
So
an engine.
what do
Is
you
the
want
block.
them to do? Go redevelop the block for every freaking model?
No, and that
That's
doesn't mean that it's
absurd.
actually a truck engine, but it means it is an engine shared with a truck
it
platform.
was guys. Okay, so here's my things. Ford Performance, the people who do the Focus RS, the Shelbys, the GT, and the Raptor.
there it is.
There are two cars there with a turbo V6.
English?
I think they probably share more than we're giving them acknowledgement for. I'm not trying to tell you they started with a V6 F-150 and built a GT. I'm saying that GT motor, I'm sure a lot of that R&D has.
Well, yeah, they don't. The
It
thing
is
is
true
that
by the Raptor.
Ford wouldn't design an engine strictly for one car that they make 2,000 units of. They wouldn't do it. Ford's not stupid. It's like
Right,
the
but-
EcoBoost motor. They started with the Mazda motor and then did some tweaks, and now it's the EcoBoost motor.
Well, guys, on that note, I think we're going to have to end this. And I don't know. We did get some conclusions, which is that Euro V8s are essentially the best from an enthusiast and kind of like performance angle, especially if you include the Italians and the mix, Europeans in general, and not just the Germans. However, if you want cheap, reliable V8, Ma 5.0, then you usually go American. Japanese have some interesting stuff, but they need to put them in good cars. I personally think if they actually made the Supra V8, nobody would really complain as long as they gave it a damn stick shift and stop using it in massive boats, even though the original Supra.
High-revving turbocharged motor. Don't care if it's a V8 or V6.
Fair enough. And also, the Koreans are in there somewhere, but nobody can get a car that's cool enough to do it other than the old Genesis. So, thank you so much for joining, everybody, watching, and all the people in here who are chatting, all my friends. As I said, we will have more streams in the future, most likely, about the BRZ, the NSX, other controversial enthusiast topics, such as what defines a sports car. And I hope you all will watch again then. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Nissan Patrol is king, is one vote, because Japan makes the best V8s, apparently. And on that note, any final words from you guys? Make it 5 or less.
We're not doing the sports car debate.
All
Yeah,
right.
we are. No, we are. We're
Those are
going to.
your words. You two are done. Anybody else?
Japan does
I'm
make
not doing the
best
sports car
V8.
debate.
Miata is always the answer.
Luke, what was yours?
I'm not doing the sports car debate.
Oh, come on. All right, we'll talk about it.
How's it changes
Anyway.
every day?
My pulley swap.
More fully swap. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. If you guys could stick around with me for a second after I end the live stream, I'd appreciate it. I'll catch you all soon on 802 Garage.